Chapter 711. Seeing that Wu Xiang was about to say something, Ling Xiao hurriedly changed the topic and asked, "Senior Brother Wu, tell us, among the people who came this time, who do we need to pay attention to?" Wu Xiang smiled bitterly and didn't dwell on the previous topic. Instead, he looked at the camp and said, "The one wearing black clothes over there is Tang Jiu, the chief core disciple of the Tang sect, one of the 3 sects in the south. Although he is only 19 years old, he ranked 64th in the last martial arts festival. His cultivation has reached 60% of the half-step celestial venerate level. Tang Jiu is known as the shadowless killer because his hidden weapon skills are too terrifying. You are often killed by him in battle. He looks gentle on the surface, but he is actually very scary. He is ruthless and merciless. If you meet him, try to avoid him." Hearing Wu Xiang's words, Ling Xiao used his mountain river martial soul to analyze Tang Jiu's strength. He was shocked when he saw it. This person's cultivation was at 80% half-step heavenly venerable. Just as Wu Xiang had said, Tang Jiu looked like a rich young master on the surface, talking and laughing. However, Ling Xiao could see that this person had a vicious side to him. His aura was very dangerous. A wolf in sheep's clothing? That was probably the best way to describe this person. And that person over there. Wu Xiang continued to introduce the people who might be a threat to the Yuehua school's disciples. That person is called Li Yudao. His name is Yudao, but he is actually Wu Dao. He is the chief core disciple of Gu King sect, one of the 3 southern sections. He was ranked 66th in the last martial arts festival. His strength should be about the same as Tang Jiu's. People call him Wu Dao Master. He kills people like scything flax. He likes to plant goo in people's bodies. Junior Brother Ling, you killed Gu Duanchang. I'm afraid these 2 people will do you harm, so be careful. Ling Xiao used his mountain river martial soul to observe Li Yudao. This person was also at 80% half-step heavenly venerable, but slightly weaker than Tang Jiu. This person's performance was completely different from Tang Jiu's. Tang Jiu was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a beast that liked to disguise itself. However, Li Yudao released his terrifying killing intent and evil aura without any scruples. Even his fellow disciples did not dare to stand next to him, for fear of offending him and getting killed. Rumor has it that Li Yudao even planted a goo poison in his master because he thought it was fun, causing his master to die. This person was even more cruel than Tang Jiu. In fact, he was even more frightening than Tang Jiu. More than 10,000 people's death. Most importantly, everyone who died to be tortured to death, to suffer, to be tortured to the point of their lives to death. Somehow, Li Yudao sensed that someone was looking at him. He turned his head around instantly, and the terrifying murderous aura in his eyes made most of the Yuehua sect disciples tremble in fear. Some of them even knelt on the ground. Humph! Oh. Then, something even more terrifying happened. There was a golden silkworm in his mouth. Li Yudao smiled sinisterly. The golden silkworm in his mouth was aimed directly at Ling Xiao. Huh. Ling Xiao opened his mouth and shouted. The golden silkworm flew into the air and exploded into countless pieces. Li Yudao revealed a look of surprise. There were many people who could defend against his murderous aura, but there were very few who could block his sudden release of the golden silkworm goo. Hee, interesting. Only such a person deserves to be my, Li Yudao's, best toy. He couldn't help but smile proudly, as if finding a good toy made him happier than anything else. This Li Yudao is indeed sinister. Wu Xiang looked at Li Yudao coldly and said, "These 2 are the most dangerous people. Don't be fooled by their 64th and 66th place in the last competition. They might be in the top 50 or even the top 20 this time. You have to be careful. The other people you need to pay attention to are Yan Liehua, an inner disciple of the profound fire sect, ranked 51st in the last martial arts festival. He should have a flame, martial spirit of nature, but it is unknown what kind of flame it is. However, he is definitely strong. Fortunately, he is not a bloodthirsty person. Just don't provoke him. Ye Qianqiue, an inner disciple of the Heavenly King sect, ranked 55th in the last martial arts festival. His characteristics are very similar to Mo Wushang, one of the 6 young masters. He is good at secret soul techniques, and his martial spirit is an animal that can use illusion techniques. Junior brotherling, you should pay attention to him. Although there is a big gap between him and Mo Wushang, their characteristics are similar. Luo Tianyu, an inner disciple of the Heavenly King sect, ranked 60th in the previous martial arts festival. He was best at movement techniques and was extremely fast. Among all the disciples who came this time, he was probably the fastest. Of course, Junior brotherling, you are an exception. Blue Fatty was an inner disciple of the Jade Water Divine Palace. Even though she was a woman, she didn't seem to mind being called a fatty. She was extremely powerful and extremely terrifying in the water. She could unleash 2 times more power than usual. She was ranked 70 in the previous Martial Path Festival. Snake Dowager, an inner disciple of the Jade Water Divine Palace. She is also a woman. She was ranked 79th in the last Martial Arts Festival. She is very scary. Although her ranking is not high, she is better than all the disciples of the Beast Palace in terms of using the snake martial spirit. She is also one of the people that you should not get close to. The people that Wu Xiang mentioned were all people that could attack the disciples of the Yuehua school. Although there were other experts, there was no need to introduce them in detail. However, this did not mean that they did not exist. It could be said that the top 100 or even the top 200 of the last martial arts festival were a great threat to most of the disciples of the Yuehua school. Ha ha ha, it seems that we are a bit late. Suddenly, a burst of laughter came from afar. Then, dozens of figures flew over. A sect that I have never seen before? Ling Xiao frowned. The clothes and insignia of these people did not belong to the 12 sects, but their aura was frighteningly strong. Sky Dragon Institute. Everyone was stunned when they saw the words written in gold on the backs of those people, because no one had heard of the Sky Dragon Institute before. What are they doing? Moreover, there were a total of 10 people from the Sky Dragon Institute. 8 of them were leaders, 3 of them were Grotto Heaven Realm, and 5 of them were Sky Realm. Only 2 of them were contestants. One of them was the one who had just laughed. He was very tall and sturdy. He was more than 3 meters tall. He was a youth under the age of 20. Such a tall figure was probably related to his martial spirit or inheritance. The other person was a woman. She was dressed in an extremely charming manner. She had a sweet smile on her face, but her eyes revealed a ruthless look like that of a snake or scorpion. Chapter 712. I'm Army Breaker, a core disciple of Sky Dragon Institute. I've never participated in the Sacred Dynasty's Martial Arts Festival, so I came here to join in the fun. This is my junior sister, Feng Yaorao. She's also never participated in the Sacred Dynasty's Martial Arts Festival, but she should be qualified and in line with the rules. That robust youth seemed to have a cheerful personality. He didn't care if others were listening or not. He introduced himself and the girl beside him. What a powerful aura. I'm afraid it's not inferior to Tangjiu and Liu Dao. There's actually such a powerful young expert outside of the 12 sects. Lan Yu were said in surprise. Army Breaker, why are you being so long-winded? Apart from the top 100, the rest are all trash. Is there a need to introduce them? Although Feng Yaorao was enchanting, her words weren't pleasant to hear. Moreover, it was very direct and hurtful. Junior sister, you can't say that. With our strength, I'm afraid that apart from 80% of our strength, any expert above half-step Empyrean would die. Army Breaker said with a smile, it's not easy for others. You don't have to be so hurtful. Humph. How am I as hypocritical as you? Today I'll say it here. Whoever meets me, you'd better stay away. Otherwise, I'll kill without mercy. This Feng Yaorao was obviously a charming girl, but her killing intent was frightening. Every time she opened her mouth, she would kill. She was really overbearing. What was the background of this Sky Dragon Institute? Ling Xiao was also puzzled. Junior sister, I heard that Yuehua School is very arrogant recently, especially that Ling Xiao. He actually defeated Sword King Sec's Chen Meng and Beast King Palace's Decepticons. He even killed Poison King Sec's Sad Heartbreak. What's more infuriating is that he didn't give face to the Holy Sun. What do you think? Army Breaker seemed to be deliberately stirring up trouble. Kill. Feng Yaorao only said one word, but it was filled with hostility. Their voices were very loud. Not to mention the Yuehua School, the other sects also heard it. Hee, Senior Brotherling, she's provoking you. Lung Hao said with a smile. This girl is very strong and her origin is unknown. Junior Brotherling, you must be careful. Dai Yuling reminded. Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, As I said before, those who humiliate me will be humiliated by others. I won't take the initiative to provoke anyone, but if they don't know what's good for them, then don't blame me for being impolite. As expected of the young sect master, so domineering. The rest of the Yuehua School students were now following Ling Zhao's lead. Ling Zhao's strength was equivalent to the strength of the entire Yuehua School. This was extremely beneficial to them. This was because the rise of a sect would benefit all the disciples of the sect. Brother Ling, I'm here. At this moment, another group of people arrived from afar. It was the Divine Sword Clan. However, they had learned their lesson this time. The Immortal Sword sect only sent one participant, and that was Long Qin. The current Long Chen's cultivation had already reached 10% of his strength, a half-step Empyrean, second only to Ling Xiao. As expected of the dragon race, his cultivation speed was even faster than Ling Xiao's. Of course, this was also related to the fact that their strength had been suppressed for too long, so once they came out, they would continue to release it. Once this suppressive force was released, the rate of increase would naturally slow down. Although Long Qin only had 10% of his strength, a half-step Empyrean, he was of the Golden Dragon race and possessed part of the ancient Golden Dragon's bloodline. Once he entered his divine dragon form, his strength would increase greatly. Hence, his strength was probably much stronger than his cultivation. Humph, another one has come to die. Li Yudao sneered. Tang Jiao, on the other hand, had a fake smile. Feng Yaorao and Army Breaker had ruthless looks on their faces. It seemed that Long Qin had also become one of their targets. However, provoking Long Qin was definitely not a good choice. The strength of the Divine Dragon's defense was probably something that these people could not imagine. The Immortal Sword sect had set up camp near the Yuehua School, and the two sects had a very close relationship. After a period of time, the black dragon suddenly let out a high-pitched roar, which sounded like the roar of a divine dragon. Roar! Amidst the roar, a hole seemed to have been torn open in the middle of the black dragon. One could vaguely see the shadow of a building inside. The True Devil Forbidden Area has been opened. Everyone listen up. After entering, you may appear in different places, but don't panic. If you feel that your life is in danger, use the secret scroll to retreat. Don't be rash and don't panic. Before leaving, Wu Xiang carefully reminded everyone. Yes, over 100 disciples of the Yuehua School accepted the order. Also, after entering, the rules are the same as in the Moonlight Pagoda. The more opportunities you encounter, the more benefits you get, and the better your results will be. At that time, your results will be displayed as a black tornado. The bigger the tornado, the better your results. The top 150 will meet up with the 50 seeded contestants to participate in the finals. Wu Xiang had once hoped to participate in the finals, but unfortunately he couldn't because of Chang Yueli. However, he still had a basic understanding of the rules. As for why the black tornado would be displayed, no one could explain it. There was a saying that it was related to the giant black tornado outside, but no one could explain the specific relationship. In any case, there was no harm in using it as a reference, and it was very accurate, so it continued to be used. There's nothing else. I wish you all a safe journey. Wu Xiang actually had a lot to say, but the black tornado would only be open for about a week. Moreover, the further they went, the smaller the tornado would be. Entering early would naturally be beneficial. Ha ha ha, I'll leave first. You all can chat. Army Breaker laughed and took the lead to rush into the black dragon, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Feng Yaorao glanced over and smiled faintly. Her smile was charming and also filled with killing intent. After that, her figure flashed and she also rushed in. Once they left, the others also became anxious. For a moment, all kinds of lights and figures continuously rushed towards the giant black tornado. It was a spectacular sight. The people of the Yuehua school and the Divine Sword sect were not anxious. If they squeezed in now, it would obviously lead to a conflict. In the end, they were directly kicked out before they even entered the black tornado. When most people had entered, the people of the Yuehua school began to enter one by one. Brother Ling, I'll be leaving first. Long Qin of the Divine Sword sect cupped his hands towards Ling Xiao and also flew in. Good guy, this is really spectacular. Just the 12 sects already have so many genius disciples. I really don't know how many geniuses there are in the entire heavenly dragon continent. Ling Xiao couldn't help but reveal a rueful expression. After Longqin entered, he also moved towards the black tornado. There was a saying, if it's a blessing, it's not a curse. If it's a curse, it can't be avoided. If it's yours, it's yours. If it's not yours, there's no meaning even if you rush in. Whether it's a blessing or a curse, it won't change whether you enter early or late. Chapter 713. Qinmeng Jianfeng Ao Chu. Everyone else, listen up. The reason why our Sword King sect has declined is because of the Yuehua school. So remember, no matter who you meet in the Yuehua school, as long as you can kill them, it doesn't matter if you can't enter the finals. Jian Wuji alone is enough. Especially remember, Ling Xiao must die. Kill the others if you can, but Ling Xiao must not be let go. You are no match for him. You can join forces with others. In short, he must not be allowed to come out alive. Chun Nanqing, the sect master of the Sword King sect, hated Ling Xiao and the Yuehua school to the core. He felt that even if Ling Xiao entered the finals, he would still lose to the Holy Sun. At that time, he would have to work like a horse for the Holy Sun. However, he felt that it would be too easy for Ling Xiao. Being a slave for such a delicate beauty, who was also a future holy emperor, was simply a blessing, not a torture. Therefore, he wanted Ling Xiao to die now. Qinmeng naturally had no objection. Ao Chu was a core disciple who had been in seclusion before. His friend had died at the hands of Ling Xiao, so he also would not refuse. Only Jian Feng furrowed his brows. He did not have a good life in the Sword King sect, but he had to listen to the sect master's order. It seemed that he could only take action. However, he would not use any despicable means. It would be better to directly attack. If he lost, it would be his own fault. If he won, it would be Ling Xiao's fault. As for the other disciples of the Sword King sect, they were completely under Chun Nanqing's command. Naturally, they would act according to his orders. Everyone had their own thoughts as they entered the true devil forbidden area. Golden Light glanced at Chen Nanqing and said to Wu Xiang in a low voice, Sect Master, I'm afraid that Chen Nanqing will do something to Ling Xiao. Not only Ling Xiao, that old man may target all the disciples of the Yuehua school, Wu Xiang said coldly. Wu Xiang said coldly, but that old bastard can't do it himself. If he does this, he might end up losing both his wife and his soldiers. That's true. Lung Hao, and Dai Yuling were not to be trifled with. Zhao Ji was also a decisive killer. As for Ling Xiao, he's never been the type to suffer losses. Whoever dares to provoke him will suffer the consequences. Golden Light, Heavenly Sovereign, smiled when he thought about what happened in Sword King City. The mantis stalks the cicada, but it may not expect that it wasn't a cicada, but a monster with a cicada on its head. If it was eaten, it could only blame its stupidity. As soon as he entered the Black Dragon tornado, Ling Xiao felt his body involuntarily fly away with the wind. By the time he was able to stabilize himself, he realized that there was no one else around him. He was the only one left. He was now in a desert. The scorching sun shone on the desert, making him feel like his body was about to melt. What was strange was that in such an environment there were actually plants that could survive. Damn, there's so much wolf's tail grass. When he took a closer look, he suddenly realized that there were patches of wolf's tail grass here. It looked very similar to wolf's tail grass, but its leaves were golden yellow. Moreover, the plant was very large and could survive almost anywhere. It was precisely because of its tenacious vitality that it was very useful when used to refine medicinal pills or spiritual liquids. There are actually over 100 stalks that are over 1,000 years old. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh with emotion. A stalk of wolf's tail grass was worth 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Previously, he had gone to the capital of Northern Han to purchase it. If these wolf's tail grass were refined into a gold leaf toughness pill, it could be used to replenish one's physical strength and increase one's survivability in harsh environments. Its value would increase by 10 times. A single pill would be worth 100,000 low-grade spirit stones. Moreover, this pill was only a low-grade Huang-grade medicinal pill. Ling Xiao could refine it. Most importantly, this thing was that even a Heaven Realm expert would be reluctant to part with it. After all, increasing one's survivability was very important. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao beckoned with his hand. Over 100 stalks of wolf's tail grass were stored in the Mountain River realm. However, just as he was about to turn around and leave in search of another place, he suddenly felt something moving in the sand. Pung! A sandstorm that was over 10 meters tall rose from the sand pile. What appeared was actually a strange desert lizard. This fellow's body was too large, and most of it was buried in the sand. As soon as it appeared, the desert lizard rolled up a huge sandstorm and blasted it at Ling Xiao. This kind of monster had no intelligence. The only thing in its mind was slaughter. Ling Xiao slightly wrinkled his brows, and then a qi sword broke through the air. Clang! Although there was only one true origin qi sword, the pharaoh was only a level 9 pharaoh and had yet to reach the level of a pharaoh king. As such, the true origin qi sword failed to pierce through it and did not even leave a scratch on it. All it did was disperse the sandstorm in the sky. What a strong defense, but it's useless. Ling Xiao shouted. The 2 qi swords condensed into one and shot out again. It contained a small amount of destructive will. Puchi. The destructive will was the most powerful thing about destruction. No matter how strong the defense was, it would be difficult to block this terrifying power. The giant desert lizard was cut in half by the qi sword, revealing a shiny golden nightin. Blood seeped into the desert. Ling Xiao put the monster core into his storage ring and continued on his journey. According to his judgment, the other participating cultivators might have encountered similar situations. However, everyone had different opportunities, so the dangers they encountered were naturally different. There were definitely many people who had been eliminated. Just as he inferred, the people who were eliminated one after another used secret scrolls to escape when they encountered danger. They thought that they didn't have the strength to deal with the powerful existence in front of them. However, these things had nothing to do with Ling Xiao. He just needed to quietly finish his journey. The true devil forbidden area was indeed a forbidden area. After leaving the gold leaf wolf tail grass, Ling Xiao had only walked less than 500 meters when he encountered trouble. Suddenly, a group of scorpions that lived in the desert appeared. Although these scorpions weren't big, their numbers were terrifying. There were more than 10,000 of them, and all of them rushed toward Ling Xiao like a tide. 9 meridians, Qi sword, rising sun, sword light. Ling Xiao raised his hand, and a sword light like the sun appeared above his head. Then, countless sword lights shot toward the scorpions like a rainstorm. Wherever the sword light went, the scorpions were all destroyed, leaving behind a mess. Even the remaining ones fled without a trace. It seemed that these scorpions had some brains. They knew that the opponent in front of them couldn't be defeated, so they fled. The True Devil Forbidden Area included the imperial city of the True Devil Empire and the surrounding hundreds of miles. Because there were few people here, the scene from tens of thousands of years ago was basically preserved. The beasts that lived here, although not as strong as the great, desolate beasts, were all incomparably strong. Fortunately, Ling Xiao was strong. Otherwise, whether it was the desert lizard or the desert scorpion, they could easily take his life. Chapter 714. One had to know that the giant desert lizard was a level 9 Transcendent Realm beast, which was equivalent to a level 9 Transcendent Realm cultivator, or even stronger. Although these scorpions were small in size, being only level 8 Transcendent Realm beasts, there were enough of them. Ordinary half-step heavenly venerables with 10% of their strength would probably die if they encountered them. If they didn't run, they would die. Ling Xiao could only hope that Dai Yuling and Leng Hao wouldn't encounter the same danger. Otherwise, it would be difficult. As for the rest of the Yuehua School's disciples, Wu Xiang had said that they should run if they couldn't win. They were generally weak, so getting something was enough. There was no need to risk their lives. There probably wouldn't be many casualties. Those who might really die were probably those whose strength was neither too high nor too low. Just as Ling Xiao was thinking about these things, danger once again approached. He had no choice but to give up on his wild thoughts and re-enter the battle. This time, the beast he encountered was even stronger. It had reached the level of a half-step heavenly venerate king. What was even more terrifying was that this guy was extremely good at using the desert's terrain, making it impossible to guard against. In the end, Ling Xiao used his flying sword to follow it and kill it. Along the way, Ling Xiao encountered at least a dozen types of beasts. Each of them was extremely fierce, and the slightest carelessness could cause him to fail miserably. The most troublesome thing was that these beasts seemed to be very good at using the terrain, which made him sigh. However, because of these battles, his combat experience in special terrains increased a lot. It could be considered a big gain. Finally, after about an hour, Ling Xiao walked out of the desert and saw the ruins of the old city of the True Demon's Empire. Although the walls were dilapidated, most of the old city's outline could still be seen. He sped up and rushed near the old city. He found that one of the city walls was densely packed with weapons. Most of these weapons had already decayed and deteriorated, but there was one sword that was extremely eye-catching. It was a treasure sword with a frosty aura. Its quality was estimated to be an immortal grade artifact, or even a divine grade artifact. No matter what level of sword it was, for a martial artist like Ling Xiao, who loved swords, it was naturally the most suitable weapon. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao did not act rashly. He circulated his mountain river martial spirit and carefully analyzed the situation of the wall. Only then did he feel fortunate that he did not act rashly. It turned out that the reason why this sword could not decay was because it had a special ability. It could cast ice and snow barrier, causing the entire wall to become extremely cold. Other weapons could not withstand this kind of cold and would basically shatter. Only it had been sealed in ice until now. Within the 12 Golden Lotus Arts, there was a snow celestial phenomenon. Ling Xiao was preparing to comprehend it next. Previously, he felt that the Ice Dragon sword's attributes were compatible with the snow celestial phenomenon, but now it seemed that this snow feather sword was more suitable. The snow feather sword was a celestial grade treasure weapon. Ling Xiao was able to use it at the moment, but he was unable to fully utilize its amplification effect. However, he was not far away from the celestial realm. As long as he reached the celestial realm, he would be able to fully utilize its power. At the very least, it would be the most suitable weapon for anyone below the celestial realm. However, if he wanted to obtain this treasured sword, he would first need to break through the ice and snow barrier. Otherwise, he would be frozen into an ice sculpture. At that time, he would not be able to obtain the treasured sword and would even have to pay with his life. Breaking through the barrier was not a difficult task for Ling Xiao, but it still cost him over 10,000 low-grade spirit stones and some special materials. Just as he was about to take the sword, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. "Ha ha ha, this thing belongs to us." The voice laughed wildly as he pulled the snow feather sword out of the wall. In that instant, snowflakes floated down from the sky, and a terrifying cold air instantly froze the surrounding vegetation and walls. However, this martial artist was obviously prepared. Although his whole body trembled, he still put the snow feather sword into his storage ring. Ling Xiao originally had the opportunity to snatch it back, but this person was not alone. He had 3 other companions, all of whom are half-step Empyreans with 20% strength. In terms of cultivation, these people were similar to him. "Hee, boy, I was going to kill you, but seeing that you have made such a great contribution for us, I will spare your life. It is actually a treasure sword of the immortal grade artifact level. I really did not expect it." The person who obtained the treasured sword was very excited and did not take Ling Xiao seriously at all. Although this person was obviously unable to control the snow feather sword for the time being, after taking it back to the sect, his elders would naturally help him. It is a good thing, but unfortunately, you do not deserve to have it. Ling Xiao could still feel the terrifying ice and snow aura of the snow feather sword at this time. This ice-cold aura, as long as it was guided by a little bit of true essence, would erupt and cooperate with the owner to attack the enemy. The reason why a magic treasure was because it contained a certain kind of power and special ability. As long as one was a martial artist, they could use these things to unleash great power or special combat effects. As long as this snow feather sword was activated, it could completely cooperate with the snow celestial phenomenon, causing the power of the snow celestial phenomenon to multiply. To Ling Xiao, this thing was a necessity. How could he let the other party take it away just like that? "Boy, what did you just say?" The leader of the 4 asked coldly. "I said that you are not worthy of possessing that sword. Return it to me, and I can let you live. Otherwise, kill without mercy." Ling Xiao was willing to give the other party a chance, but it all depended on whether the other party was willing to seize it or not. "Ha ha ha, this kid must have lost his mind. He actually said that he would spare our lives? Brainless brat. Just now I said that I would spare your life, but now, cut off your own legs and we can spare your life. That's right, stinking brat. You actually dare to threaten us. Do you know how to write the word death? Hurry up, if you dawdle any longer, we will attack." The 4 of them looked at Ling Xiao mockingly, their faces full of mockery and contempt. It was as if Ling Xiao was already a dead man in their eyes. Ling Xiao's eyes were indifferent. Why do people always have to come to their deaths? I don't want to kill people, but some people are tired of living. He slowly took out the overflow rain sword, then looked at the 4 of them indifferently and said casually, "I will give you one last chance. Leave your treasured sword and get lost immediately. Otherwise, stay here and never leave." Ling Xiao's killing intent was more terrifying than Liu Dao's and more demonic than Tang Jiu's. This was because he had the martial soul of the ancestor of the assassins, the sword devil Yi Gushin. Ling Xiao no longer intended to give the other party a chance because they did not cherish the opportunity he gave them. Kill him. The 4 of them did not leave their treasured sword behind, nor did they choose to leave. Instead, they had the intention to kill. The person closest to Ling Xiao made the first move. He did not use a weapon, perhaps because he felt that Ling Xiao was not worthy of him using a weapon. This person directly threw out a kick. That kick immediately turned into a milky white wind and rushed towards Ling Xiao like a tornado. Chapter 7:15. Ling Xiao held the overflow rain sword in his hand, but he did not use it because the four of them were not worthy. The reason why he took out the overflow rain sword was to guard against the Oriole hiding in the dark. Puchi, a black gold chi sword flashed and instantly pierced through the warrior's head. Boom! The black gold flame burned, and the man's head instantly turned into ashes. Seeing Ling Xiao so valiant, the remaining three were obviously stunned. "Leave the item and scram," Ling Xiao said coldly. "Don't be afraid of this brat. The three of us will deal with him together. I don't believe we can't kill him." It was obvious that people would die for wealth and birds would die for food. The three of them had completely lost their minds for the snow feather sword. Ling Xiao no longer had any mercy. Since they were looking for death, he could not let them go and let them leave with the snow feather sword. His right hand still held the overflow rain sword and was always on guard against sneak attacks. His left hand raised, and a sharp black gold chi sword condensed. This was the effect of 9 chi swords fusing into one. Even if he did not use any moves, just a simple slash would make it difficult for the opponent to block. With a thrust of his sword, the cultivator who had rushed over screamed miserably, his entire body burning with raging flames as he let out a mournful scream, losing all signs of life. When the remaining two saw the situation, they knew something was wrong. They did not dare to continue attacking and turned to run. If you leave the treasured sword behind, you might be able to keep your lives. You actually tried to take the snow feather sword. You're courting death. Hell Dragon Sword. Ling Xiao roared, and the black gold chi sword in his hand pierced through the air. It was actually a sword that killed 2 birds. The 2 who were running away were pierced by the black gold chi sword at the same time. A moment later, they were completely dead. The storage rings in their hands were all in Ling Xiao's hands without exception. However, probably because they knew the dangers of the true devil forbidden area, the storage rings of these guys only contained some physical strength, true yuan, and healing pills. There was nothing valuable. Fortunately, an ordinary storage ring was worth 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. It was not bad to sell it. Of course, the most important thing was that the snow feather sword was back in his hands, which was really satisfying. Originally, he had spent a lot of effort to break the ice and snow barrier to obtain this item. Now, someone actually wanted to reap without sowing. How could he agree to this? What a bunch of idiots. If they had left the snow feather sword behind, they could have at least kept their lives. A mere 20% of their strength is nothing in front of me. After speaking, Ling Xiao suddenly pointed his overflow rain sword at a wall and said coldly, "Friend, you've been watching for a long time. Don't you want to come out and meet me?" "Ha ha ha! I didn't expect you to be so observant." The man laughed and came out from behind the wall. "Not only am I observant, but my strength is also not bad. Since you saw the battle just now, you shouldn't have any other intentions, right?" Ling Xiao looked at the strange-looking woman in front of him and asked. He naturally knew this woman because she was the Jade Water Divine Palace's disciple, one she that Wu Xiang had introduced him to before. At that time, Wu Xiang had said that this woman was ranked 79th in the previous martial arts festival. Her strength was terrifying. Although her ranking was not high, in terms of using the snake martial spirit, she was better than all the disciples of Beast King Palace. She was also one of the people who should not be approached. But now, not only did Ling Xiao approach her, but he also wanted to fight with her. "Haha, although you killed 4 cultivators of the same cultivation realm as you, and it looked very easy, your strength is not bad. But in my eyes, it's nothing." Wan, she smiled and shook her head. "You gave them a chance just now, so I'll give you a chance too. Put down the sword and leave, and I won't take your life." You killed a disciple of Yuehua school? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. Yes, a disciple of the 5th level of the Transcendent Realm begged for mercy in front of me, but I didn't give him a chance. After all, the head of a disciple of the 12 sects is very valuable in our Jade Water Divine Palace, so I cut off his head. Wan Qi pointed to the specially treated head on her waist and smiled. If you don't listen, you'll end up like him. Is that so? Unfortunately, I don't like to be manipulated by others. Ling Xiao put away the snow feather sword and took out the dense mist sword. The dense mist sword in his left hand and the overflow rain sword in his right. His opponent was not bad. Ling Xiao wanted to test the power of the fog celestial phenomenon. Also, you killed a disciple of Yuehua school. There's no way for us to be kind anymore. Ling Xiao added. Haha, what can you do to me? You may be the chief core disciple of Yuehua school, and you may have killed a disciple of Yuehua school, but I saw the battle. You just happened to restrain that idiot. Now I'll give you a chance. Leave the snow feather sword behind, or die. The snake dowager continued to smile. However, Ling Xiao could see a hint of caution in her smile. Given the snake dowager's personality, she wouldn't have let Ling Xiao go. It was only because she was afraid of Ling Xiao that she didn't want to fight Ling Xiao head-on. That was why she made such a decision. It won't take much time to kill you. There's no need to talk nonsense. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Sai, originally, I didn't want to kill another disciple of your sect, so soon after killing a disciple of Yuehua school. But since you want to die, I can fulfill your wish. It's just that you've probably heard of how terrifying I am. I won't let you die right away. I'll let my precious snakes bite your flesh inch by inch until you're nothing but bones. You'll definitely asterisk. Because of this. The snake dowager's words were sinister and terrifying. Behind her, the phantom of a 3-headed monster appeared. I've long heard that the Jade Water Divine Palace is related to the Oceanids. It seems that the rumors aren't baseless. Ling Xiao thought inwardly. The 3-headed monster was a giant beast that lived at the bottom of the sea. It was said that this monster was born with 3 heads, and the more it cultivated, the stronger it would become. The most powerful of the clan actually had 9 heads, which was the Hydra. While he was thinking about this, the snake dowager had already activated her quintessential yuan to attack. She leapt up and blasted out with her palms. Her majestic quintessential yuan condensed into a millstone-sized palm print that smashed the surrounding walls into pieces. This kind of terrifying attack power was much stronger than that of Chunmeng and the Decepticons. To be able to enter the top 100 of the previous martial arts festival, the snake dowager's reputation was well-deserved. Die. Ling Xiao just watched indifferently. The bewildering mist sword in his hand trembled slightly, and a dense mist instantly filled the entire space. Then a human-shaped sword energy faintly appeared in the mist. Strange? Why do I feel a chill on my neck? My clothes should be able to protect my neck. The snake dowager, who was in midair, suddenly felt a chill on her neck. She turned her head to look and unexpectedly saw blood constantly spurting out from her neck. Then the mist quickly dispersed. The snake dowager was horrified to discover that her head had been separated from her body. Ling Xiao had already walked to her side and picked up her storage ring. That absurd and frightening feeling almost drove her crazy. Chapter 716. She had lost her life in the blink of an eye. Even when Snake Dowager lost consciousness, she did not know how she had died. That sword was too fast. That move was too strange. If the heavens gave her another chance to choose, she swore she would never provoke this fiend again. Ling Xiao didn't know what the Snake Dowager was thinking before she died. He took the Snake Dowager's storage ring and left. There was still nothing valuable in the storage ring, only some commonly used pills. It seemed that many sects were prepared. Even if they died, they would not leave anything valuable to the killer. But Ling Xiao did not care. He killed not to plunder, but because he had no choice. In the true devil forbidden land, danger lurked everywhere. And these dangers were not only from the ferocious beasts and terrifying traps. In fact, more of them came from the contestants themselves. Ling Xiao killed because he had no choice, but some people killed for no reason at all. In the ruins of the vast true devil forbidden land, killing intent spread. Screams rang out again and again. It was as if the shocking blood energy was connected to the clouds. Crazy! Li Yudao, that madman, is simply a murderous demon. Run, what are you waiting for? If you meet that madman, you will die without a doubt. Yes, quick, run. But we have no enmity with Li Yudao. Why would he want to kill us? Nonsense, that guy likes to kill for fun. Don't think so much, follow closely. Hearing the endless screams, more than 10 martial artists screamed and ran away. Even if they did not see Li Yudao, they felt all the pores on their bodies tremble. They ran with all their might, not even hesitating to use their true essence. Some people even used martial arts that could lead to self-harm. It wasn't for the sake of seizing any treasures, nor was it to fight to the death. It was merely for the sake of escaping. Hey, am I that scary? But running for their lives was futile. Li Yudao's figure appeared behind them. He did not even move, but the phantom of a jar appeared behind him. It was rumored that all goo worms were made in such jars, so these jars were also known as goo nest. The goo nest martial soul could be used to control goo worms to kill enemies. The disciples of the Goo King sect might not be very skilled in martial arts, but their use of goo poison was absolutely terrifying. Li Yudao only said a few words, and the faces of the dozen or so people who were running away suddenly turned ashen. Then they fell from the sky one by one. Their corpses were still trembling when they fell to the ground. What crawled out of the corpses were centipedes that were less than an inch long. Goo Master Wu Dao, Li Yu said, this nickname was really not wrong. Not only was this person terrifying, but he was also tyrannical. There was clearly no enmity between them, and they didn't even want to rob anything. They just thought it was fun, yet they had killed more than a dozen cultivators for no reason at all. Speaking of which, these people were to blame for not being determined enough. If they immediately used the return scroll to leave the true devil forbidden zone, they might be able to save their lives. Unfortunately, they weren't willing to give up just like that. In the end, they ended up dying miserably. At the same time, in a different place. This was a secret chamber. There was a box in the secret chamber. Perhaps because of the passage of time, the box had been damaged, revealing the heart of the ocean that was shining beautifully inside. There were more than a dozen pieces. If this thing was embedded in a weapon or magic treasure, it could also have the effect of a formation. Tang Jiu, what are you doing? Tang Jiu, who was talking and laughing, suddenly attacked, and 2 cultivators who were near him died on the spot. Tang Jiu chuckled. You guys, haven't you heard of what kind of person Tang Jiu, am? Today, I'm in a good mood. You guys can scram. This heart of the ocean gem is mine. As the chief core disciple of the Tang sect, Tang Jiu didn't kill indiscriminately like Li Yudao, but he could kill for benefits. To him, the heart of the ocean was a very rare thing. Although these hearts of the ocean in the box could only be embedded in treasure-grade treasures, they were still useful to him. Before he advanced to Skyman realm, he could use them. The people in the secret chamber were all pale. They had been talking and laughing with Tang Jiu along the way, and felt that Tang Jiu was not as cruel and bloodthirsty as the rumors said. However, that was because they didn't encounter anything good. Once a treasure appeared, Tang Jiu's nature would be completely exposed. Although they were incomparably furious, they only had one choice in front of them, and that was to escape. They were very clear about how terrifying Tang Jiu was. If they stayed, only death would await them. Oh, right, it's best to run faster. If you guys still haven't left my attack range after I collect these 10 hearts of the ocean, then I'm sorry, my hands will itch. Li Yudao liked to play, and so did Tang Jiu. It was just that the two of them played differently. Liu Dao liked to see the pain of people before they died. He felt very good. Tang Jiu liked to see people being toyed with in the palm of his hand. He felt that he enjoyed it. Controlling the life and death of others was simply too wonderful for Tang Jiu. Go. When the people in the secret chamber heard Tang Jiu's words, they didn't think much at all because they knew that only death awaited them if they stayed. But if they ran, there might be a way out. Their speed was very fast, and they could cross 100 meters in a breath. Those with better movement techniques could even cross 200 to 300 meters without a problem. Tang Jiu would need at least 4 to 5 breaths to collect those hearts of the ocean. They could escape 500 to 600 meters, or even 700 to 800 meters away. The attack range of an ordinary martial artist was not that large. Therefore, they felt that they could safely save their lives from Tang Jiu this time. As for the hearts of the ocean, if they didn't have them, then so be it. Anyway, the true Devil Forbidden area was very big, and they might be able to find something else. Tang Jiu turned around to collect the hearts of the ocean, but the corner of his mouth raised into a cruel and smug smile. A bunch of idiots. Did you know that in ancient times there were nobles who purposely released prisoners and then hunted for fun? In a breath, the fastest person was already 300 meters away. In 2 breaths, the fastest person was already 700 meters away. However, at this time, Tang Jiu had already turned around. He only took 2 breaths to collect the hearts of the ocean. This was something that the people running for their lives never expected. They miscalculated and misjudged the Tang sect's unique technique, the 1,000 golden hands. This technique was originally used to practice hidden weapons, but it was still incomparably fast when used to collect things. All of you deserve to die. Life-locking needles take 3,000 lives. Tang Jiu's lips curled into a cold smile. Then, with a wave of his hands, a dozen poisonous needles flew through the air. It looked like a very simple attack, but it was actually filled with hidden killing intent. The dozen poisonous needles were faintly discernible, as if they had merged into the air. They were completely in sync with the fluctuations in the air, so the martial artists running for their lives did not notice their existence at all. Chapter 717. Not only was the life-sealing needle undetectable, but it was also as fast as lightning. Ah! A blood-curdling scream suddenly sounded, and a red appeared between the eyebrows of the slower cultivator. A poisonous needle actually pierced through the back of his head to his forehead, directly piercing through his brain. He wailed in pain, struggling, and gradually lost his life under Tang Jiu's cold smile. At this moment, the escaping cultivators suddenly realized that Tang Jiu had already started attacking. Only then did they realize that they had already become targets. Thus, even more frantic attempts to escape began. However, it was useless. Their escape only attracted Tang Jiu's disdainful smile. Ah, ah. Screams sounded one after another, and they all died so tragically. One after another, those cultivators did not have the slightest resistance at all, and were completely played by Tang Jiu. In fact, if they had attacked together just now, Tang Jiu would not have succeeded so easily. It was because they were afraid that they ended up in such a miserable state. Finally, someone came back to his senses and directly used a return scroll, turning into a white light and disappearing. Being eliminated was better than dying here. Still want to escape. Tang Jiu frowned slightly. He could not let the people he wanted to kill escape just like that. A strange shadow appeared behind him. It was a strange person with 1,000 hands. Then Tang Jiu pushed out with both hands, and the strange person's countless hands also pushed out. A gust of wind suddenly appeared. The life-sealing needle was even faster. The remaining cultivators did not even have the chance to use their secret technique scrolls and died tragically on the spot. Ha ha, that's right. How can I let the people I want to kill escape? Tang Jiu, you must die a horrible death. I curse you to die without a complete corpse. Someone who was poisoned by the needle was still alive, which meant that he was strong enough. Is that so? Tang Jiu smiled coldly and was about to attack again, but that person finally tilted his head and died. There were too many obstacles in the ruins, and it was impossible to fly. Even his movement technique could not be too fast. Ling Xiao's speed was greatly reduced. However, this did not matter. He wanted to find treasures anyway, and if he was too fast, he might miss them. Ling Xiao suddenly stretched out his hand, and a qi sword pierced through the air, piercing through a vicious beast that was hiding behind the wall, preparing to sneak attack him. I didn't expect these ferocious beasts to become more and more cunning. They actually learned how to hide in the dark and launch sneak attacks. I have to be more careful. Ling Xiao took a deep breath. If he had been slightly distracted just now, he was afraid that the sneak attack would have succeeded. Although the ferocious beast wasn't too strong, it still wasn't a good feeling to be caught once. After taking the beast's inner core, he continued forward. In the ruins of the true Devil Empire, there were many hidden or broken doors. There were also many formations and mechanisms that were still functioning. Others might have to rely on luck. But Ling Xiao had an easy time because he knew about this. Who would have thought that this dirty pond was actually a secret door? After walking for a while, Ling Xiao suddenly discovered that there was a secret door in the depths of the pond. This was a secret door that was completely condensed from an array. After passing through, it was possible that it would be a completely different world. Although it looked dangerous, Ling Xiao believed in his intuition and the judgment of the mountain and river martial spirit more. He jumped in without hesitation. At this moment, a huge suction force suddenly sucked him in. It felt as if he had entered a tornado. Bang! Ling Xiao stabilized his body in the midst of the crazy fall and stepped on the ground. There was indeed another world. Ling Xiao looked around. There was a tornado-like passage above, and anyone who could find this place would be directly sucked in. As for what was inside, it was hard to say. There were a few corpses on the ground that only had bones left. It looked like they had been dead for a long time. On the ground, there were traces of footprints, but they were very new. Seeing this, anyone could tell that someone had already entered, and there was more than one. There shouldn't be any light in the tunnel, but there were also light-gathering and light-absorbing arrays here, causing the originally dark tunnel to be extremely bright. Following the tunnel, Ling Xiao lifted his foot and walked down. Just as he walked less than 100 meters, a powerful aura behind him was sensed by the yin-yang moth he released. The yin-yang moth was used to detect the surrounding environment, which saved more true essence than the true essence ball, and the effect was also better. Therefore, Ling Xiao had gradually given up on the true essence ball and switched to the yin-yang moth. It was also omnidirectional without any blind spots, and it was even clearer. It was basically undetectable by the opponent. Just like last time when they were chased by the yin-yang moth, if he hadn't caught the yin-yang moth when he had nothing to do, he would have been ambushed without knowing that he was being followed. He quickened his pace because the person behind him was not weak. It was probably a half-step Empyrean with 70 or 80% of his strength. Now was obviously not the time to fight with such a person. Ling Xiao entered the true Devil Forbidden Zone to find an opportunity to improve his cultivation and strength, not to fight with anyone. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to fight. However, after walking for a while, he realized that there were people blocking the way in front of him. And there were even more people in front of him. They were basically people from the Heavenly King sect, the Blue Water Divine Palace, and the Profound Fire sect. Of course, there were also people from the Gu King sect, the Tang sect, the Poison King sect, and other sections. However, there were no martial artists from the Yuehua school or the Divine Sword sect. He was relieved that there were no people from the Yuehua school, because these people were fighting each other. Moreover, he was quite powerful. Most of the Yuehua sect's cultivators were too weak. If they got involved, they would probably die. Do you want to die? You even dare to provoke people from the Heavenly King sect. Don't you know that we are the top sect among the 12 sects? Don't act cool with me. Our profound fire sect is not inferior to your heavenly king sect. Moreover, this is the true devil forbidden zone, not your heavenly king sect. Who's afraid of who? Our blue water divine palace is not afraid of anyone. Even if the heavenly king sect dares to provoke us, they will die without a doubt. All right, since no one is willing to give in, then let's kill. Let's rely on our own abilities. The survivors will go in last. Boom! The battle became even more violent. The entire secret area seemed to be shaking nonstop. Dust and even debris kept falling from above. Ling Xiao cursed in his heart. These people were really crazy. They had not even seen the shadow of the treasure, and they were already killing each other here. However, he could not be bothered with these people. He lifted his foot and walked straight over, preparing to enter first. As for these people, he would leave them to the terrifying guy behind him. However, he did not know whether to laugh or cry at the reality. The martial artists who were fighting all stopped when they saw Ling Xiao. Then they all looked at him in unison. You guys continue. I'm just passing by. Ling Xiao smiled. He was not Li Yudao, nor was he Tang Jiu. He had no interest in killing irrelevant people. Chapter 718. Ha ha ha, I was wondering who it was. So it's the fat sheep from Yuehua School. The Holy Sun has ordered us to kill every disciple of Yuehua School on sight and reward them handsomely. What's the point of fighting? Let's kill this fat sheep and go back to get our reward. Someone burst into laughter. The rest of the people also revealed a hideous smile. It seemed that they regarded themselves as the wolves and Ling Xiao as the fat sheep. Boy, what's your name? One of the disciples of the Heavenly King sect asked loudly. Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao revealed a playful smile and answered loudly. Oh, it's a fat sheep. The Holy Sun said that he would not let this boy enter the final of the martial arts festival alive. Whoever kills him will get the same reward as the winner of the martial arts festival. Hearing Ling Xiao's name, the warriors who had been grinning ferociously were now almost drooling. Don't be in such a hurry. Even the Holy Sun wants to kill this boy. Is this boy a little powerful? Powerful, my ass. The Yuehua School is ranked at the bottom of the 12 sects. How powerful can this boy be? The disciples of the Yuehua School fled too fast. They used secret scrolls as soon as they sensed that something was wrong. We can't even catch up with them. But this boy doesn't seem to want to run away. That's right. It's just the Yuehua School. How powerful can he be? Kill him. If you don't do it, I'll do it first. What's the hurry? We, the Heavenly King sect, found him first. Nonsense. It's us, the abstruse fire sect. The voices of argument rose and fell one after another. They were actually discussing who would kill Ling Xiao. It was as if Ling Xiao was really a fat sheep in their eyes, not a person, let alone a warrior. Stop arguing. All of you can go to hell. Suddenly, a voice came from behind Ling Xiao. Then something terrible happened. A gust of black wind surged in the passage and rushed into the crowd. It seemed to have turned into a ferocious beast and began to devour lives. Ah! From the moment the first scream started, it only took an instant for the black wind to gnaw away nearly half of the martial artists alive and turn them into white bones. Upon closer inspection, the black wind was not a real wind, but a black ant with wings. It was just that it was really very small, so small that it was difficult to distinguish it with the naked eye. As expected, he's vicious and merciless. His strength is also incomparably powerful. That person's attack just now had enveloped him as well, but the black wind had dissipated the moment it touched him. Black ants were most afraid of fire. Ling Xiao's body was covered in a layer of hellfire that was invisible to the naked eye. Naturally, these things could not touch him. However, he couldn't help but sigh with emotion. The might of this black wind was truly rare. Among the people that were killed, there were actually half-step Empyreans with 50% of their strength. As for these martial artists, they didn't even have the ability to survive for a moment within the black wind. This was simply too terrifying. Not good. It's the Sky Dragon Institute's Feng Yaorao. How can this woman be so cruel? Ghost knows, let's run quickly. This woman is too strong, and her methods are incomparably ruthless. If we stay, we'll turn into white bones. Although those present were all heaven's prides of their respective sex, they had no intention of resisting the appearance of Feng Yarao. They turned around and fled towards another path. They didn't care whether there was danger in that path or not. In any case, it was better than facing Feng Yarao head-on. It should be known that in the previous preliminaries, 80% of the disciples who died or were eliminated were killed by these lunatics. This time would not be an exception. On the contrary, those who died because of mechanisms, arrays, and fierce beasts were few and far between. The real threat came from within the team. Li Yudao, Tang Jiao, Feng Yaorao, and the others were all ruthless people. Even if they weren't ruthless, when competing for treasures, they would still kill. From the beginning of the preliminaries until now, whether it was Yan Yahua, Yichin Shue, Fatty Blue, or Luo Tianyu, all of them had taken a lot of lives. Basically, the top 100 cultivators of the martial arts festival had all killed someone, and some even killed their own sect members. In the passage, the lively battle instantly turned silent. Only Ling Xiao looked behind him indifferently. A charming and enchanting figure arrived. It was Feng Yarao. It seemed that among those cultivators, some had seen Feng Yarao before. Otherwise, it would be impossible to guess her identity. Feng Yarao didn't even look at the corpses on the ground. Instead, she looked at Ling Xiao with a little surprise and said, "You're not dead." In this woman's eyes, Ling Xiao was just a half-step heavenly venerable with 20% of his strength. The difference between their strength was too great. One had to know that the difference between every 10% of strength in the half-step heavenly venerable realm was much greater than the 9 layers before the transcendent realm. The strength of a half-step heavenly venerable with 20% of his strength might even be 2 or 3 times that of a half-step heavenly venerable with 10% of his strength. Feng Yaorao was a half-step heavenly venerable with 80% of her strength, while Ling Xiao was only at 20%. There was a 6-stage difference between the two. These 6 stages might be a 20-fold difference in strength. However, Ling Xiao didn't die, which puzzled her. Of course, she didn't understand, because that kind of difference was only the difference between ordinary cultivators. Ling Xiao was too special. He possessed the ancient hell dragon martial soul, the most mysterious and terrifying mountain river martial soul, and cultivated the powerful jade grade entry grade martial art, 12 golden lotus arts. So, the gap between Ling Xiao and Feng Yarao was actually very small. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of Feng Yarao. "Why should I die?" Ling Xiao smiled and said, "There are many things in the True Devil Forbidden Area that I'm interested in. If I die so early, I won't be able to see them." "Hee, you're very confident. Unfortunately, your strength is too weak. Could it be that you didn't hear what I said outside? I'll kill everyone from your Yuehua school." Feng Yaorao also smiled indifferently, revealing a bit of ridicule and disdain. She even used her hands to fiddle with her hair. She didn't have any intention of guarding against Ling Xiao's sneak attack. She really didn't put Ling Xiao in her eyes. "You've killed Yuehua School's disciples before?" Ling Xiao suddenly asked. "I want to, but unfortunately, I've only met you so far. Your fellow disciples either ran away or used secret scrolls when they saw me. I didn't even have a chance to try." Feng Yarao sighed and said, "Then you're lucky. Otherwise, your blood would have splattered everywhere." Ling Xiao said indifferently. "Oh." A surprised expression appeared on Feng Yarao's face. She had already displayed 80% of her strength as a half-step heavenly venerable. It was impossible for the other party not to know, but he still dared to be so calm and confident in front of her. Was this a bluff? Or was he overconfident? Or did he really have the strength to compete with her? This question was very difficult to answer, but there was a more direct way. Since she couldn't guess, she just had to make a move. Once she made a move, she would immediately know whether the other party was strong or weak. Chapter 719. Thinking of attacking, Feng Yaorao smiled faintly and said, "Speaking of which, I don't have any enmity with your Yuehua school. It's just that someone felt that you might hinder the rise of Sky Dragon Institute. So he asked me to find trouble with your Yuehua school. How about this? If you can survive my attack, I'll spare you and won't find trouble with your Yuehua school. You seem to have tried it just now," Ling Xiao reminded. "That's not the same. The attack just now had a wide range, and the attack power was too scattered. It's not impossible for you to dodge or block it, but the next attack is different. It's only aimed at you, so its power might be several times stronger." Feng Yaorao smiled and shook her head. "What if I don't agree?" Ling Xiao asked. "Then we can only fight to the death." Feng Yaorao smiled. "Forget it. Now isn't the time to fight with you. How about I take one of your attacks?" Ling Xiao quickly made his decision. He could defeat Feng Yaorao, but it wouldn't be easy. There were several people nearby who were ready to reap the benefits. Since this conflict could be avoided, then it would be best to avoid it for the time being. In the end, both sides would suffer great losses. Even if he could kill Feng Yaorao, some people would probably take advantage of the situation. "Your confident expression isn't bad. Let's see if you have the ability to do so." Feng Yaorao's expression suddenly became gloomy and cold. A shadow appeared behind her. It was the winged black ant. However, this ant was much bigger than those little fellows from before. Clang! When the overflow rain sword was taken out, Ling Xiao's aura changed along with it. He stood there like a sharp sword, revealing its sharpness. Not only that, but this sword was also emitting an evil-killing intent and blood-type aura. He was like a terrifying devil sword that had slaughtered countless lives. Slaughter will? I didn't expect you to have the same slaughter will as grief heartbreak. Moreover, it's much stronger than his. No wonder that idiot died in your hands. Feng Yaorao once again revealed an astonished expression. She even cried out, but in the blink of an eye, she regained her composure. She was very clear that when fighting a martial artist with a will, the first thing one had to do was not be intimidated by the other party's soul pressure. Otherwise, the battle would be lost. With a shout, a long whip appeared in Feng Yaorao's hand. After that, the long whip turned around, faster and faster, and actually formed a black tornado in front of her. Ling Xiao recognized that this tornado was the same as the one that had killed those martial artists before, but it was much more powerful. Black Wind Demon Whip. The long whip pierced through the sky, and before it could get very far away from Feng Yaorao, its terrifying destructive power was completely revealed. The ground in the surroundings collapsed continuously, and the walls in the vicinity also began to tremble unceasingly. Fortunately, there was a powerful formation in the remaining secret room. Otherwise, with the power of her attack, the entire secret room would have collapsed. Without a doubt, this move could easily kill a half-step Empyrean with 50% strength. No, even a half-step Empyrean with 70% of his strength wouldn't be able to withstand it. For other people's moves, the farther the distance, the weaker the might. But for Feng Yaorao's move, the farther the distance, the stronger the might. Ling Xiao stood there, and his eyes were like lightning. His long black hair fluttered in the wind, and his clothes also issued flapping sounds. Although the sand and stones were flying, his feet seemed to be rooted to the ground, and he didn't have any intention of retreating even half a step. Chila! Suddenly, a blood-red sword light pierced out and transformed into a human-shaped sword energy. This light was extremely dazzling and caused the entire passage to turn blood-red. So much so that the light gathering array's light was completely covered. Rumble! There was only one loud sound, and both of them actually stood in the same place without moving. However, both of their feet were deeply embedded in the ground, and the ground under their feet was already damaged beyond repair. What a terrifying slaughter, Will! How can it be so terrifying? Feng Yaorao's complexion was slightly pale, and her face was filled with disbelief. Although there weren't many martial artists who possessed slaughter will. She had seen several of them, and there were also 4 or 5 of them who possessed slaughter will. However, none of them possessed slaughter will as powerful as Ling Xiao's. It was as if his slaughter will had materialized and caused a terrifying injury to the depths of her spiritual sea. Does it feel good? Ling Xiao didn't seem to have the slightest change. Even his complexion was completely unchanged. Just now, the two's attack power was basically equal, but Ling Xiao's defense was much stronger, so Feng Yaorao was actually at a disadvantage. Haha, I didn't expect you to be so strong, boy. No wonder even the Holy Sun thinks highly of you. Now I finally understand why the Holy Sun wants you dead, no matter what. You are too terrifying, and if you continue to grow, I'm afraid you won't be able to stay on the heavenly dragon continent. Feng Yaorao smiled sadly. She thought that she could easily kill Ling Xiao, but in the end, Ling Xiao taught her a lesson. They were both transcendents and half-step heavenly venerables, but sometimes one's cultivation realm wasn't enough to show one's strength. She shouldn't have provoked me. Ling Xiao said lightly, "Ha ha ha, boy, you are really arrogant. I really want to see who will become the heavenly dragon continent's, heaven's, chosen child of this generation. You and the Holy Sun." Feng Yaorao's body trembled, and she couldn't stop laughing. Heaven's chosen child? What's that? Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment and asked, "No way, you don't even know about the Heaven's chosen child? It is the only person who can represent the heavenly dragon continent to enter the Heaven's chosen sea route and then go to the Heaven's chosen gate. That is a supreme honor and endless benefits. It is something you can never imagine." Feng Yaorao said in surprise, "It seems you really don't know." Seeing Ling Xiao's confused expression, Feng Yaorao seemed to understand the reason for Ling Xiao's strength. There were some young people who didn't care about the outside world and only focused on the martial Tao. This kind of person was very terrifying. When Feng Yaorao wanted to continue explaining, she suddenly frowned. Ling Xiao also looked in the direction of the passage. Someone else was coming. His speed was very fast and his steps were light. Clearly, he was a cultivator with an extremely high movement skill. Such a fast movement skill, it should be Luo Tianyu, right? Feng Yaorao said with a smile. "It's not him." Ling Xiao shook his head and said, "Although I've only seen Luo Tianyu once, when he moved, his voice was not like this. This person is my senior sister, Lan Yu." "Your senior sister?" Feng Yaorao was stunned for a moment. She really didn't expect that in addition to Ling Xiao, there was such a powerful young cultivator in the Yuehua school. The voice stopped, and the person who appeared in the passage was indeed Lan Yu. However, Lan Yu seemed to have had some fortuitous encounter, and her cultivation had advanced from 60% strength to 70% strength. When she was triggered in the Yuehua school, she was already about to break through. When she came to the true Devil Forbidden Area, she must have encountered some kind of opportunity. So she took the opportunity to break through. Ling Xiao, Feng Yaorao. Ling Xiao and Lan Yu were naturally surprised, but when she saw Feng Yaorao, she suddenly became nervous. Chapter 720. The breakthrough in her cultivation and the practice of the lunar sacred scripture had made Lan Yu even more powerful. However, her temperament couldn't be changed in a short period of time. After all, the Yuehua school was suppressed too much in the past. Lan Yu couldn't help but feel inferior and lack of self-confidence. "Don't worry, she can't do anything to us." Ling Xiao indifferently said, "I'll take my leave first." Feng Yaorao was also smart. Seeing Lan Yu, She was obviously worried. If Ling Xiao and Lan Yu joined hands, she would be in a lot of trouble. Ling Xiao also did not stop her. As the saying goes, whether one can obtain a treasure or not doesn't depend on who is faster, but who is more fated. Senior sister, let's go in too. The two of them walked into the secret space together. However, after entering, they discovered that Feng Yarao was still standing there. What's going on? Ling Xiao asked. Interesting. This place requires us to strike the copper bell to be transmitted in. Otherwise, we won't be able to enter the secret space. Feng Yarao pointed at the inscription on the huge copper bell and said, Then strike it. You go first. Ling Xiao said. Feng Yarao nodded her head. She was also anxious to leave this place because she really didn't want to stay with Ling Xiao and Lan Yu. It was too dangerous. Black Wind Devil Whip. Feng Yarao lashed out her long black whip. A force that could shatter the ground blasted on the copper bell. However, it only made the copper bell slightly shake, but didn't ring. It seems like this thing isn't simple. Feng Yarao certainly wouldn't give up. She waved the long whip in her hand again. The black wind actually turned into a huge ant and began to beat the copper bell. Not even once. Not even twice. Finally, when Feng Yarao channeled 70% of her true energy, the copper bell issued a dull sound. Then, Feng Yarao was sucked into the copper bell. Senior sister, you do it. Since Feng Yarao had succeeded in ringing the bell, Lan Yu should be able to do the same. However, the methods used by the two of them should be different. Lan Yu nodded and took a deep breath. The shadow of the moonlight heavenly maiden behind her became clearer. Moon shadow / a lunar shadow / chopped down on the bronze bell, but it didn't make any noise. When Lan Yu saw that there was a way, she continued to increase the amount of true essence she channeled. She was already quite proficient in using the lunar shadow / and when she fused her true essence, she could do it just right. When he raised his true yuan to around 80%, the copper bell finally rang. Junior brother, I'll take my leave first. Before her voice fell, Lan Yu's figure also disappeared. After Feng Yarao and Lan Yu disappeared, Ling Xiao lightly tapped on that copper bell, and that copper bell immediately began to shake crazily, issuing a series of deafening sound. Ringing the bell didn't just rely on brute force or quintessential essence. The key was to find the right place to strike. It just so happened that Ling Xiao specialized in this aspect. As the bell rang, Ling Xiao's figure was wrapped in golden light and entered the copper bell. He noticed that Feng Yarao and Lan Yu's figures were not there. He guessed that the three of them were transmitted to 3 different places. No more distractions, he thought. Ling Xiao walked forward. This was a very big space. It should have been the treasure of the true Devil Empire. There were traces of treasures inside, but they were all taken away. He guessed that it might have been taken away by the people who had participated in the preliminaries. There were also corpses on the ground. Looking at their identity cards, they were actually disciples of the Sword King sect. However, these corpses had been dead for many years and were already shriveled up. A terrifying aura came from the front. Ling Xiao hesitated for a moment, then lifted his foot and walked over. The deeper he went, the more corpses there were. There was no need to ask. The treasures outside were taken away because there were no guards outside. However, the deeper he went, the more powerful the guards were. This was why there were so many corpses. Moreover, the guards here were also killed. Therefore, Ling Xiao didn't find anything for a long distance. At the end of the corridor, there was a door. When Ling Xiao was about to open the door, he heard a scream coming from behind the door. He kicked the door open, and a strange situation appeared. Feng Yarao and Lan Yu were actually behind the door. However, they were in another room. However, all 3 rooms led to the same place. Behind the door, there was a huge round table. In the middle of the round table, there was a throne. On the throne, there was a meditating sculpture. On the way to the throne, there were armored puppets wearing metal armor. The reason why Feng Yarao screamed was because she was attacked by these armored puppets. At this time, Lan Yu also encountered a battle. All 3 paths were blocked by armored puppets. Whoever could kill these armored puppets first would be able to reach the throne first. Interesting. Ling Xiao abruptly sent out a qi sword towards one of the armored puppets that was charging towards him. Bang! That armored puppet was sent flying. However, it was only 1 or 2 meters away. Moreover, there was not even a single wound on its body. Terrifying defense. Ling Xiao did not dare to be negligent. He directly pulled out the purple flash sword. The purple flash sword was the most powerful sword in terms of killing power. It was most suitable to be used together with the will of destruction. It was also the most appropriate weapon to use against monsters with strong defense. Ka! The armored puppet stood up again. Both of its feet stomped on the ground and jumped up. The spear in its hand was aimed at Ling Xiao's head. Ling Xiao had seen puppets a long time ago, but the ones he encountered this time were clearly different from the ones he had seen before. Not only were they more powerful, but they also seemed to have some intelligence. They were able to judge danger and find the most suitable opportunity to attack. This was simply an intelligent puppet. He did not expect the true Devil Empire to have such a treasure. Perhaps because of the heavy body of the armored puppet, it was somewhat cumbersome. However, because of its unique body structure, it could use a raise to obtain more energy. Thus, it could obtain a more terrifying speed than human warriors. In just a moment, Ling Xiao discovered that there were 2 tubes on the back of the armored puppet. The tubes spewed out a fiery aura. This guy's speed surpassed Ling Xiao in a moment. Bang! Ling Xiao did not expect this. As a result, he was hit and his whole body was embedded in the wall. What the hell is this? How can it be like this? Although Ling Xiao had been hit, his defense was not to be trifled with. Similarly, he was not injured. He lifted his leg and sent the armored puppet flying with a kick. This thing's strength was not strong. Its attack was also not strong. However, its speed was very fast and its defense was amazing. It was impossible to get close to the throne and avoid it. Feng Yaorao and Lan Yuer's situation was even more difficult than his. In any case, he had a defense that did not belong to the armored puppet. However, the defense of these 2 people was not as good as his. Their agility was also not as good as his. Therefore, they had to fight for half a day. In the end, they were forced to retreat to the door. Chapter 7:21. Interesting. As long as you retreat, the armed puppet will not attack again as if there is an order. But there is no one here who gave them the order. The more Ling Xiao looks at it, the more he feels that it is strange. But this kind of thing, he can't figure it out in a short period of time. So he simply stopped thinking about it, otherwise his brain will explode. But at this time, no one can help anyone. They can only rely on their own ability. Feng Yaorao snorted, and the black whip in her hand lashed out once again. The terrifying power caused the entire hall to shake unceasingly. The armed puppet's neck was directly wrapped, and then it was ruthlessly smashed on the ground by Feng Yaorao dozens of times. After dozens of smashes, the armed puppet's body became somewhat deformed and some dents appeared. But that's all. The defensive power of the armed puppet is really frightening. Lan Yu also went all out. Her lunar shadow slash continuously cut the armed puppet's body. Moreover, each time she cut the same position. After dozens of smashes, the armed puppet was sent flying dozens of times. A small hole appeared on its neck. There is no blood in that small hole, but a strange liquid flowed out. Could it be that this thing is not powered by spirit stones? Ling Xiao suddenly froze. He was not in a hurry to attack. He has been observing. Seeing the scene, he could not help but be surprised. This is the true Devil Empire's armed puppet. It is completely made of special metal. There is a very complex array inscription in its body. The energy source is spirit oil collected from the seabed. Feng Yaorao explained while gasping for breath. Spirit oil. Yes, it is similar to spirit stones, but it is a liquid. Moreover, its purity is higher than spirit stones, and its value is also higher. Feng Yaorao nodded her head and said, Only the true Devil Empire has this kind of thing. Rumor has it that the Yin-Yang Demon King of the true Devil Empire is an armed puppet that relies on spirit oil to fight. Moreover, its wisdom is not inferior to human. No way, the dignified Yin-Yang Demon King is actually a puppet. Ling Xiao simply does not dare to believe it. Believe it or not, now we should think about how to break this armed puppet. Feng Yaorao helplessly said, That is not very difficult. Ling Xiao faintly smiled. After observing for a long time, he has found the weakness of the armed puppet. Although the weakness of the armed puppet is much more difficult to find compared to the Blue Eyes race's armed puppet, Ling Xiao's mountain and river martial spirit is not to be trifled with. Coupled with his will of destruction, he does not believe that he cannot destroy this thing. Shadow sword technique, sword devil descending. Qin Tian's will, of course. The armed puppet's body of the true Devil Empire's arm. Ka 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 ka. A series of cracking sounds could be heard. Chi. In the end, the sword light cut open the armored puppet's stomach, revealing the golden inscription inside. What an exquisite weaponized puppet. When will I get one to play with? When Ling Xiao saw the complicated and tight internal structure, he was really envious and surprised. Feng Yaorao was even more surprised. She even doubted whether she spared Ling Xiao's life or if it was Ling Xiao who spared her life. Ling Xiao did not care about her surprise. He just slowly walked towards the throne. The reward this time is not bad. It is actually a complete armed puppet design. In addition, it also comes with a set of tools and some materials. Ling Xiao faintly smiled. He guessed that this place might be the place where the true Devil Empire used to train their soldiers. Whoever performed well would be rewarded. However, the people of the true Devil Empire probably did not expect that their reward would be given to the disciples of the 12 sects. Regarding the spirit oil, Ling Xiao already had some clues. Someone from the sea race would definitely know the whereabouts of the spirit oil. When the time comes, all he had to do was exchange some with the sea race. Whether it was to be sold for money or used as a guard, it would be very useful. As mentioned before, the development of every sect is inseparable from money. They must have their own industry. If the Divine Sword sect wants to join the ranks of the 12 sects, they must have their own specialty. Later on, they might as well specialize in manufacturing puppets and sell them. After all, these armed puppets can enter many dangerous places, such as treasure hunting, diving, and so on. They can engage in dirty and dangerous work that warriors are not willing to engage in. This is absolutely a big market. Senior sister, Miss Feng, I will take my leave first. Take care of yourselves. Although Ling Xiao wanted to help Lan Yu, but after thinking about it, he hardened his heart and prepared to part with her. On the road of martial arts, one must work hard on their own. If they blindly rely on other people's help or charity, they will not succeed. I have no problem. Lan Yu unnaturally knew the meaning of Ling Xiao's words. She nodded her head to reassure Ling Xiao. Feng Yaorao and Ling Xiao did not have any friendship. There was even a little bit of hatred between them. At this time, she did not want to stay with this little monster. I hope we will meet again in the finals. I really want to see the surprised expression of the Holy Sun. Perhaps because they are both women, Feng Yaorao seems to have a strong jealousy towards the Holy Sun. Goodbye. Ling Xiao slightly smiled and left from the throne. After he left, Feng Yaorao could not help but sigh. I thought that this time I would be able to show my strength in the martial arts festival, but now it seems that there are too many monsters. Forgive me for being blunt, Miss Lan, with your cultivation Entering the top 100 is not a problem, but entering the top 50 is not guaranteed. I understand, perhaps because of the appearance of the mountain and river martial spirit, there will be a lot of monsters in the martial arts festival. I must improve, otherwise I will not be able to catch up with you. Lan Yu gritted her teeth. She also hoped to obtain more benefits in the preliminaries. Perhaps separating from Ling Xiao was the best choice. Whoosh! A figure appeared out of thin air. He looked around and found that there were many fresh corpses on the ground. Some of them were still bleeding. The strangest thing was that these martial veins were directly cut out by something. They died miserably. Alas, this is the true devil forbidden area. Where there is opportunity, there is danger. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. Along the way, he had seen far too many killings. However, he had long since lost the mood to sigh and groan as he used to. The mysterious world itself was the world of martial artists. Only the strong could control their own destiny. Some people yearned to live a mediocre life, but they did not know that when they encountered those monsters, they could destroy a city with a yawn. Countless ordinary people died because of this. Those people simply did not have the chance to protect themselves. Ling Xiao was a beggar, so he was very clear about the importance of strength and status. Living an ordinary life? It was just people who drank too much chicken soup to deceive themselves. In such a world, the only ending for ordinary people was to live a sullen life and die inexplicably. Chapter 722. Ling Xiao looked at the ground. There were 2 corpses of Yuehua school disciples. He tidied up the corpses and put them in an empty storage ring. He was going to bury them when he got back. Novel! As for the other corpses, he didn't care. He didn't have the obligation to care. After tidying up the corpses of the Yuehua school disciples, Ling Xiao continued to walk forward. After about half an hour, he came to a place that looked like a library. All sects had a place to hide. The true demon's empire was so powerful in the past, so it was impossible that it didn't have a similar place. The door of the library was already rotten. Half of the wall had collapsed on the ground, and there were blood stains on it. He didn't need to look to know that the blood stains were very fresh. They must have been left behind before. In the dark passage of the library, it was difficult to see anything clearly without the help of the light-gathering and light-absorbing arrays. Ling Xiao activated his mountain and river martial soul. Black and gold flames began to flicker in his eyes. The originally dark passage became brighter. He lifted his foot and walked through the gap. There were many shelves inside, but most of them were empty. There were also many torn pages. Ling Xiao continued to walk in. He seemed to hear a soft sound coming from the corner of the wall. He frowned. The sound was very soft. An ordinary martial artist wouldn't have been able to hear it. However, it couldn't escape Ling Xiao's ears. Although he was still walking forward, there was an additional qi sword in his hand. Whoosh! At this moment, a black shadow attacked him from behind. It flashed with a cold light and went straight for his back. This thing wasn't big. It was about the size of an ordinary mouse, but it was very fast. "I'm waiting for you." Ling Xiao sneered. He didn't turn around. He directly sent a qi sword through the air. It turned in the air and pierced into the body of the black shadow. Poochie! Squeak! The black shadow screamed and fell to the ground. It was dead in an instant. Only now did Ling Xiao see clearly what this thing was. The size of this thing was very similar to a mouse, but it was upright. It was a small monster that walked like a human. Its sharp nails were like sharp knives. Ling Xiao felt that the sharpness of this thing was definitely not inferior to a treasure. After a mouse monster was killed, a pile of them rushed out. Ling Xiao couldn't help but have goosebumps all over his body. It wasn't that he was afraid, but he felt very uncomfortable when he saw these things. This was probably the so-called trypophobia. Ling Xiao didn't show any mercy. A strong poison permeated the air and the rat monsters began to scream and flee in all directions. Their cries continued to ring out, adding an ominous and sinister aura to the already eerie true devil-forbidden area. Squeak! Just as Ling Xiao was about to turn around and leave, he suddenly realized that the rat monster had returned. But this time, there was an even bigger mouse monster leading them. The leader of the rat monsters opened its mouth and sucked in all the poison. It even burped. So, the moment it burped, the mouse monster leader suddenly jumped out. This guy's body was more than 10 times bigger than the other mice. It felt like it was about the same height as a human child, but its movements were as sharp and its brain was even better. Ling Xiao's air-breaking sword was easily dodged by this guy. What the hell is this thing? Waving the overflow rain sword to block the attack of the mouse monster leader, Ling Xiao was a little surprised. There were really a lot of strange things in the ruins of the true demonic empire. First, there were armed puppets. Now, there were big mice that didn't seem to have lower intelligence than humans. They could even use human martial skills. The defense of the mouse monster leader was naturally not as good as the armed puppets, but the hardness and sharpness of its nails were not inferior to the materials of the armed puppets. Coupled with its amazing speed, it was really difficult for Ling Xiao to attack its vital points. Squeak! Dang! Dang! The mouse monster continued to attack. The series of attacks made Ling Xiao unable to counterattack. I can't bear to kill you. Ling Xiao's face showed joy. This little thing's fighting strength was really strong. It felt like a small assassin. Get lost. I don't have time to play with you. Ling Xiao suddenly burst out with an amazing murderous aura. The mouse monster leader flipped several times in the air and finally landed more than 10 meters away. Squeak! The mouse monster leader seemed to be a little angry. It was actually frightened by Ling Xiao's murderous aura, which made it difficult for it to accept. Its body suddenly rotated and directly drilled into the ground like a drill. If you want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish. Ling Xiao originally thought that this little thing was smart and planned to spare its life, but the other party didn't want to let it go, so he couldn't continue to retreat. With a wave of his hand, a flying sword flew up, and then, under the urging of the will of destruction, it stabbed into the ground and nailed the mouse monster leader to the ground. Come back! After retrieving the flying sword, Ling Xiao no longer cared about the rest of the mice. Because the leader was dead, they could no longer pose any threat. The mice frantically fled, far away from Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao retrieved the overflow rain sword and continued to move forward. When he walked inside, he finally found a relatively well-preserved book. There were a total of 6 books that could be picked up and used. 4 of them were top gold grade martial arts, and 2 of them were jade grade beginner level martial arts. However, Ling Xiao didn't need these martial arts for the time being. He simply copied one set and brought it back to the Divine Sword Sect and the other set to the Yuehua School. He could also exchange it for a large number of spirit stones as a reward. 2 jade grade beginner level martial arts were estimated to be exchanged for 2 million mid-grade spirit stones. 4 top gold grade martial arts were also exchanged for 4 million low-grade spirit stones. This was a really big wealth gain. Mid-grade spirit stones could be used for cultivation. Low-grade spirit stones could be used to buy things, and they were all very useful. After keeping all 6 books, Ling Xiao activated his mountain river martial spirit and directly penetrated the wall to search this place. He felt that good things should be placed in a more secretive place and not easily displayed outside. Found it. Through a wall. Ling Xiao discovered that it was actually a secret door. However, this secret door was very small, and it felt like a lattice carved on the wall. In the lattice, there was a jade gourd. Inside the gourd was actually a gourd of elixirs, about 100 of them. Ling Xiao directly opened the secret compartment, took out the elixirs, and put them to the tip of his nose to smell. In his mind, the knowledge of elixirs that he had learned before appeared. Good stuff. I didn't expect it to be a high-grade, yellow-grade elixir. Half-step breakthrough elixir. The so-called half-step breakthrough elixir was used to raise the level of a half-step heavenly sovereign. That's right, it was a direct increase, and it could only be done when one was in the half-step realm. Chapter 7:23. The half-step realm was a stage of accumulating strength. There was no need for comprehension. As long as one had enough strength, they could advance. This kind of elixir was used to replenish strength. There were no side effects, nor was there any instability in the foundation. It was completely different from the previous situation. These 100 half-step breakthrough elixirs could probably help Ling Xiao advance by 2 to 3 realms. Ordinary martial artists would need at least a day to cultivate in seclusion after taking one elixir. 100 of them would mean 100 days. Ling Xiao had the mountain river martial spirit and the ancient hell dragon's hellfire furnace. 2 hours would be enough at most. Seeing that there was no one around, Ling Xiao simply ate all 100 half-step breakthrough elixirs. As soon as the elixirs entered his mouth, he felt as if his body was on fire. The strength is indeed terrifying. Fortunately, it's me. If it were anyone else in the same realm as me, they would definitely die if they ate so many half-step breakthrough elixirs. Ling Xiao hurriedly sat down cross-legged and circulated the mountain river martial spirit to digest the elixirs. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. If someone were to look at Ling Xiao, they would definitely see that this guy was on fire. His entire body was burning, and his clothes were completely burned. Within 2 hours, Ling Xiao jumped up and smashed the wall in front of him with a punch. The surging strength seemed to vent out as it rushed out dozens of meters. It was simply terrifying. A fierce beast that was about to sneak attack Ling Xiao saw this and turned to flee. Too strong. He actually found high-grade yellow-grade elixirs. Now, even mid-grade yellow-grade elixirs are treasures in the Sky Dragon continent. Of course, Ling Xiao was happy because he had advanced from 20% strength to 50% strength half-step, heavenly venerable, in just 2 hours. In terms of cultivation, he would not lose to some of the people in the top 100. It's better to set a realm template. Otherwise, it's too scary. Ling Xiao set the template at 20% of his strength to the level of a half-step, heavenly venerable, before leaving. The ruins were so big that it gave people a headache. More importantly, the passages here were densely packed. Some had been completely destroyed, while some were exposed because of the collapse of the buildings. It was like a maze that was created inadvertently, causing people to be completely confused. Of course, more importantly, there weren't as many treasures as he had imagined. Most of the things had been taken away by the cultivators who had entered this place. The remaining treasures were not only harder to find, but they were also mediocre. Originally, Ling Xiao felt that it was exciting and interesting. However, after a long time, he felt bored. He simply used his mountain river martial spirit's analytical ability to search for treasures. Perhaps it was because he was bored that someone was lying in ambush at the fork in the road, waiting to ambush him. Ling Xiao disdainfully sneered and directly sent out a beam of qi sword, cutting apart both the man and the wall. That person's body was cut in half. He still didn't understand how Ling Xiao had discovered him and how he had attacked him. From the looks of it, he probably thought that he had hidden well. Ling Xiao took out this person's storage ring. He originally thought that it would be empty, but he didn't expect that his luck would be good this time. This person probably used this method to kill several cultivators. So there were over 10,000 low-grade spirit stones and a top gold-grade martial art. Although these things didn't have much meaning to his martial arts, in the long run, the use of low-grade spirit stones as currency was still very wide. It's not that I don't want revenge, but it's not the time yet. You've killed so many people, and now that you've been killed, you can be considered to have died in vain. Ling Xiao didn't even look at the corpse as he took the storage ring and left. He had already found a way to leave the maze-like ruins. More importantly, after passing through the ruins, he could see a palace that had stood tall for tens of thousands of years. It was the former imperial palace of the true Devil Supreme Lord, towering into the clouds. Even the tragic warback then had not destroyed it, and it still looked very new. At this time there were already quite a few martial warriors gathered near the palace. They were probably there when Ling Xiao had just started cultivating. Not everyone could find treasures in the ruins like him. Many martial warriors had been here for such a long time, but at most they had found some medicinal herbs and encountered some fierce beasts. They had not encountered any opportunities that they should have. According to the organizers of the Martial Arts Festival, the main purpose of this true Devil Forbidden Area was to select the people who would enter the finals. In fact, there would be no more than 30 people who would encounter opportunities every time, and the rest were basically here to participate in the preliminaries. It was naturally best to have a harvest, but if there was no harvest, passing the preliminaries and entering the finals was also a very good result. A few hundred meters away from the palace was a huge, open space. It might have been the palace square, but now it had become a place overgrown with weeds. At this moment, there was a fierce battle going on here. Long Chun was surrounded. He was facing 4 disciples from the 3 southern sections. 3 of them were from the Tang sect, and the other was from the Poison King sect. The battle had already reached its climax. Long Chen's entire body was covered in injuries. He was considering whether or not he should enter his golden dragon form. Once he entered, his identity would definitely be exposed. At that time, there would be endless trouble. However, if he did not enter, he could only choose to withdraw today. But he was unwilling. He was the only one from the Divine Sword sect who had come to participate in the preliminaries. If he could not enter the finals, how could he have the face to return to the sect? Tang Chi, I have no enmity with you. Why are you bullying me like this? Long Chin asked loudly as he circled around. I've already given you what you want with both hands. Do you still want to force me into a dead end? It's best to leave a way out, or else you'll regret it. Ha ha ha. Tang Chi could not help but laugh out loud. Of course I want the item, but you have to die too. Who asked you to have a good relationship with that Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao's friends, our southern 3 sects, will not let a single one of them off. You're going too far. So what if I'm going too far? You're weak, so you have to take a beating. Otherwise, you can withdraw from the preliminaries. At least you can keep your life and run back like a dog. Ha ha ha. Tang Chi laughed very proudly. He was Tang Jiu's brother and one of the top 10 core disciples of the Tang sect. However, his strength was far from Tang Jiu's. If it was a one-on-one, he might not be Long Chen's opponent. However, the problem was that there were 3 other people around him who were on par with him. They were ganging up on Long Chen. It was already very impressive that Long Chen could hold on until now. If it was a one-on-one, I would have killed you long ago. Long Chen dodged an attack and spat out a mouthful of bloody saliva as he cursed. You Divine Sword sect are useless. You deserve it. Today you should die here. Brothers, stop talking nonsense with him. Hurry up and get rid of this kid before the people from the Yuehua school interfere. Tang Chi stopped talking nonsense and joined forces with the other 3 to speed up their attacks. The 4 of them surrounded Long Chen and did not give him a chance to escape. It was considered an inescapable trap. Chapter 724. If Long Chen wanted to escape, he would have to kill at least one of them first. He fought and retreated as blood flowed out of his body. However, his mind was clear. He glanced at the Poison King sect martial artist, and an idea came to him. The Poison King sect martial artist's poison technique was powerful, but his defense was the weakest. It should not be a problem to use him as a breakthrough point. Golden Dragon Sword Art Dragon Dance. Suddenly, Long Chen risked the danger of being hit by the other 3 and attacked the Poison King's sect disciple with all his might. Perhaps it was due to Ling Xiao's influence, Long Qin started to practice sword skills after he came to the Divine Sword Sect. However, his sword skills were modified according to his body shape. The martial artists of the Divine Sword Sect were not qualified to create martial arts, but they could modify some of the martial arts skills. The golden dragon danced and spun towards the Poison King sect disciple. Long Chen's body shone with golden light. Help! When the Poison King sect disciple saw the situation, he knew something was wrong. He gave up the encirclement and turned to escape. However, Long Chen chased after him and swore to kill him. Otherwise, he would not have the chance to escape when the four of them joined forces. Go and die! The three people behind Long Chen revealed their identities and gave chase. One of them was the fastest. He caught up to Long Chen and threw a punch at Long Chen's back. Puff! Long Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, but his body did not stop. Instead, he sped up. The Golden Dragon tribe's body was strong. Although it was incomparable to the immemorial Golden Dragon, it was not to the extent that he could not withstand such a blow. Puff! Finally, the Golden Dragon danced, and the sword radiance was merciless. The Poison King's sect disciple was pierced through the back. Then his entire body collapsed like flowers scattered by a fairy. However, this flower was blood-red in color, making one's heart palpitate and terrifying. You are courting death. When Tang Chi saw the situation, he was furious. You actually dared to kill my people in front of me. How can I let this go? The hidden weapon that he had prepared as a trump card broke through the air and turned into a beautiful fire phoenix. However, it was very dangerous. Phoenix Feather Soul Chasing Arrow. Although the Phoenix Feather Soul Chasing Arrow was not in the top 10 of the Tang sect's hidden weapons, it was definitely in the top 20. It was so powerful and fast that Long Chen could not dodge it. Roar! Helpless, Long Chen roared like a wild beast. Under the vibration of the sound wave, the Phoenix Feather Soul Chasing Arrow seemed to slow down a little. Then Long Chen stabbed out with his sword. Clang! Suddenly, sparks flew in all directions, and a terrifying true essence shockwave shot out in all directions. The bricks and stones on the ground were directly pierced through and exploded. Although he managed to block the attack, there was still another person on the other side. The flying knife in his hand pierced through the air and pierced Long Chen's body. Long Chen had only managed to dodge the attack in a hurry, but he was unable to dodge the attack. Fortunately, there was no poison on the flying dagger. The other party was probably very confident in his flying dagger skills, thinking that he could kill with one strike, so he didn't apply any poison. However, even if they applied poison, it wouldn't make much of a difference. Dragons were basically immune to most poisons, especially since the Golden Dragons were descendants of the immemorial Golden Dragons. Go to hell, kid! Even though he wasn't seriously injured, Long Chen was wide open right now. Seeing such a good opportunity, Tang Chi wouldn't let it go. He leaped up high, and the Phoenix Feather Soul Chasing Arrow pierced through the air again. The blazing fire phoenix seemed to have come back to life. It was extremely terrifying. Damn it, do I really have to run? If Long Chen did not run, he could only transform into his golden dragon form. However, Ling Xiao had warned him that he could not do that. At least, he could not do that when the Dragon Clan was unable to protect themselves. He even held the secret scroll in his hand. However, at this moment, a sword light pierced through the air. Chi! The sword light flashed, and the fire phoenix was directly defeated. The Phoenix Feather Soul Chasing Arrow was also directly sent flying back. Tang Chi was so frightened that he quickly dodged and caught it in his hand. If he was injured by his own hidden weapon, it would be a big joke. Other than the Poison King sect disciple who was killed by Long Chen and could no longer stand up, the other three gathered together and were ready for battle. Big Brother Ling. Long Chen looked at the person who came excitedly. He was wild with joy because he had a feeling that as long as he stayed by Ling Zhao's side, No one would be able to hurt him. He would be absolutely safe. Long Chen, don't talk first. These are healing medicine for you. Sit down and heal your wounds. Ling Xiao had killed many cultivators, and the storage rings that he seized all contained healing medicine, especially the healing medicine from the Poison King sect, Aquamarine Shrine, and Abstruse Fire sect. The quality of the medicine was really good. He gave it to Long Chen without hesitation. Yes. Long Chen did not hesitate and sat down cross-legged. He then looked at the healing medicine, and his face lit up with joy. He swallowed the medicine and closed his eyes. He did not know how strong Ling Xiao was now. However, in the land of dragons, Ling Xiao's appearance when he dominated the Black Dragon clan was like the appearance of the immemorial Golden Dragon. It was simply fresh in his memory. He believed that even if Ling Xiao could not defeat these three people, he would not be in danger. Therefore, he could heal his wounds in peace. After his injuries were healed, he could join forces with Ling Xiao and get rid of these three people. Those who kill will be killed by others. There was no reason to speak in the mystic world. There was only strength to speak. Otherwise, no one would listen to your fart. Words didn't work here. Even if you spoke extravagantly without strength, you were still nothing. Tang Qi glanced at Ling Xiao and could not help but reveal a happy expression. I was wondering who it was. So it's Ling Xiao. I was just looking for you. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to me. Although I don't know what despicable means you used to kill sad heartbreak, in front of me, you have no chance. Once my phoenix feather soul chasing arrow is taken out, it needs to drink blood. Since I can't kill Long Chen, I'll use your blood to feed it. Senior brother Tang Qi, this kid is full of tricks. The three of us should join forces. Of course we should join forces. Your senior brother is a person who does not care about trifles. Although I'm confident that he is not my match, if the three of us join forces, it will be faster. Hee, senior brother is right. Moreover, what that brat used just now seems to be the flying sword technique. It is said that this is a more advanced hidden weapon technique. We got it. But senior brother, you can't keep it for yourself. Of course, we are all brothers. Senior brother, his flying sword seems to be a precious grade artifact. What an extravagant guy. Then we might as well take it all. In Tang Qi's opinion, Ling Xiao must have used some tricks to defeat sad heartbreak. Otherwise, how could a mere half-step heavenly master with 20% of his strength defeat him? Hee, senior brother, you are really good to us. Are you done with your nonsense? Ling Xiao asked faintly. Are you in a hurry to die? Tang Qi frowned and asked. Obviously, he was very dissatisfied with Ling Xiao's attitude. Chapter 725. I'm not in a hurry to die, but I want to ask you guys a question. Novel. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. You still want to ask a question? Ha ha ha. This is the first time I've heard of someone asking a question before they die. But I'm not going to tell you. I'll let you die a wrong death. Speaking of this, Tang Qi's killing intent suddenly appeared. The other two also activated their true origin. Phoenix feather soul chasing arrow, flying dagger, and gold coin darts all flew towards Ling Xiao at the same time, surrounding him. Die. Ling Xiao sighed. He didn't want to kill anyone, but these people were forcing him to do it. A black and gold light flashed past his eyes, and 3 qi swords flew out. Bang, bang, bang. Qi, qi, qi. The 3 qi swords first knocked away the 3 hidden weapons, then pierced through the 3 people's throats. Even the location of the wounds were the same. Then, the qi swords pierced through the 3 people, leaving 3 terrifying holes in the wall behind them. Dust flew everywhere. In an instant, the 3 people's bodies slowly fell to the ground, never to get up again. Scary. Is this Brother Ling's strength? At this moment, Long Chen had just opened his eyes. He originally wanted to help, but he saw such a strange scene. He knew that his brother Ling was very strong, but he didn't expect him to be so strong. Not to mention Tang Qi. He suspected that even Tang Jiu might not be a match for his brother Ling. Gulp! Long Chen swallowed his saliva and asked excitedly, "Brother Ling, the 3 Qi swords seem to have merged with something, right?" "Massacre intent." Ling Xiao said faintly, "The intent to kill." No wonder. Long Qin had heard Lin Bei mention before how terrifying intent was. It was an external manifestation of soul power and also a way to fight. But there weren't many martial artists who could truly master it. There was even a misconception among the martial artists that martial intent was the prerequisite for the creation of martial soul. But it had been gradually corrected recently. Only the small sects in the remote areas didn't know about it. Martial soul and martial intent were two things that could coexist. One was the concretization of soul power, while the other was the incorporeal form of soul power. Long Chen was really happy for Ling Xiao and the Divine Sword Sect. With the cultivation of a half-step Holy Master with 20% of his strength, he was able to kill 3 half-step Holy Masters with 50% of his strength. This strength was too terrifying. No, it should be said that his potential was too terrifying. Just as he was feeling happy, he suddenly frowned again. "Oh no, big brother Ling, let's leave this place quickly. You killed Tang Qi. How could that Tang Jiu let you go?" Long Qin said excitedly. "It's useless. The spectators have already appeared." Ling Xiao sighed. This place was a little too close to the True Devil Imperial Palace, so someone must have seen the battle from afar. Even if he left now, it would be useless. What's more, he never intended to shirk the responsibility. Wasn't it just Tang Jiu? They would meet sooner or later. Previously, he had killed Sad Heartbreak, so Tang Jiu wouldn't let him go. Now that he had killed Tang Qi, it would only increase the probability of Tang Jiu taking action and speed up Tang Jiu's action. However, in Long Chen's opinion, Ling Xiao was definitely not Tang Jiu's opponent. After all, Tang Jiu was a half-step Holy Master with 80% of his strength. He was definitely not someone to be trifled with. "Long Chen, don't worry. Tang Jiu is here. Just kill him. Let's go to the Imperial City. I think the best opportunities are there." Although Ling Xiao wasn't afraid of Tang Jiu, there was no need to wait for Tang Jiu here. He casually picked up the storage rings of the few people and returned Long Chen's items to him. Ling Xiao kept the rest for himself. Anyway, they were all spiritual stones, medicinal herbs, materials for setting up arrays, and the like. He could use them all. "Long Chen, have you fully recovered from your injuries?" The two of them chatted as they walked. "Yes, I've fully recovered. It's all thanks to the elixirs that Big Brother Ling gave me. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have to quit today." Long Chen sighed with emotion. "That won't do. You are the only representative of our Divine Sword Sect. If you quit, what will happen to the Divine Sword Sect?" Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Rumor has it that the True Devil Imperial Palace has pure true essence left behind by the True Devil Great Emperor. It can help martial artists directly increase their realm. This is too important for martial artists. Even if you want to quit, you must first enter that place. Is it really that powerful?" "Even if you ask me, I don't know. After all, it's my first time here. However, I heard from Senior Brother Wu. Well, it seems that the Imperial Palace is also sealed by some special power. It will only open at a specific time. It will probably take 2 to 4 hours. Let's take a rest and eat something first." Ling Xiao looked at the Imperial Palace. Although many martial artists had gathered, there were much fewer of them compared to when they first entered. Moreover, those who could reach here were all half-step Holy Masters. Martial artists below half-step Holy Masters were basically nowhere to be seen. Ling Xiao was a little worried about Dai Yuling and Lung Hao. However, there was nothing he could do now. He could only wait patiently. After about half an hour, Lan Yu'er and Feng Yarao appeared. Another 2 hours passed. Lung Hao, Dai Yuling, and even Zhao Ji appeared at the same time. All three of them were injured to varying degrees. Zhao Ji's injuries were very serious. He had been carried over by Leng Hao. But no matter what, being able to reach this point was a victory. Ling Xiao did not expect them to enter the finals. However, they must at least enter the Imperial Palace, because it was a great opportunity to improve their cultivation. It would be a pity to miss it. Hurry up and heal your injuries. The Imperial Palace will open in about half an hour. Ling Xiao distributed the healing medicine he had obtained to them and helped them recover from their injuries. Rumble. After half an hour, a rumbling sound resounded. The true Devil Imperial Palace, which was originally wrapped in a strange golden light, finally opened. At this time, the number of people who appeared here had decreased from nearly 1,000 to about 300 people. It was a loss of nearly 700 people. Some of them died, and some of them withdrew midway. This preliminary competition was really cruel. The true Devil Imperial Palace has opened. Let's go. Ling Xiao stood up. Now, the Yuehua school only had him, Lan Yu, Dai Yuling, Leng Hao, and Zhao Ji left. The others were all eliminated or killed. Whether or not they could bring glory to the Yuehua sect depended on the few of them. Okay. They walked in the direction of the true Devil Imperial Palace. They were not in a hurry. Through the previous events, it was obvious that it was better to come at the right time than to come early. At this time, outside the true Devil Imperial Palace, many disciples were rushing to enter. The true Devil Imperial Palace is my small goal this time. If I can improve my cultivation here, I might be able to enter the finals. Not only can I improve my cultivation here, but I may also obtain treasures that can increase my chances of reaching the celestial realm. Chapter 7:26. That's right, I've also heard of it. It seems that someone has obtained it before. That's great. I'm already a half-step heavenly venerable with 80% of my strength. I'm not far from advancing to the heaven realm. I must find such a treasure. Otherwise, I'll be stuck in the half-step heavenly venerable realm for the rest of my life. Humph, you people humiliated me in the ruins. After this trip to the true Demon Imperial Palace, my cultivation will improve greatly. Just wait and see. I'm a genius. You people are nothing. Genius my ass. You're just pretentious. Wait until we're inside. I'll kill you first. All sorts of voices rose and fell. It was rare for martial artists to get along peacefully unless they were from the same sect or relatives. Otherwise, there was no conflict of interest. Once there was a conflict of interest, the most direct method would be to determine the winner and loser. The martial artists scrambled to enter the palace, while Ling Xiao and the others walked at a leisurely pace. Just as they were about to enter the palace, the sound of killing suddenly came from behind. It was a young girl being chased by someone. That young girl had delicate and pretty looks. She had the majesty of a royal family. One look and one could tell that she was an unapproachable person. However, at this moment her clothes were tattered, and many parts of her clothes were pierced. However, the areas where her clothes were torn did not hurt her skin. It was enough to show that this person's control of strength was amazing. The young man behind her looked to be around 17 or 18 years old. His cultivation was not considered strong. He was only a half-step heavenly venerable with 20% of his strength. Even so, he was still able to suppress the young girl in front. Little big sister, why run so fast? Why don't you have some fun with this young master? If this young master is satisfied, then this young master can escort you in the future. The young man had a lewd smile on his face. His eyes stared the young girl's tattered clothes. He was dressed extravagantly. His clothes were colorful, and he even had a big red flower on his head. One look, and one could tell that he was not a decent person. Young Master Fei Yu, my elder brother and senior brother, are over there. You still dare to humiliate me. Be careful that you don't keep your life. If you force me into a corner, I'll use a secret scroll to leave. You won't get anything. With just the few of you, what can you do to this young master?" "Young Master Fei, you," sneered disdainfully. He saw Ling Xiao and the others, but he didn't take them seriously. Why would he care about the trash from Yuehua School? "Senior Brother Ling, I beg you, please help my sister." Zhao Ji hurriedly looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Don't worry. Zhao Xi is also a student of Yuehua School. It's only right that I help her," Ling Xiao said with a smile. Then he pointed his finger, and a flying sword flew out from behind him. Young Master Fei Yu was still smiling lewdly as he approached Zhao Xi. All of a sudden, he felt a sense of danger. By the time he realized what was going on, his head had already been separated from his body. A sword light pierced through the air and returned to its master's hand. Killing young Master Fei Yu was as easy as killing a chicken. Zhao Xi looked in that direction in surprise, looking at the majestic young man. Today, Ling Xiao was even more spirited than before. His long black hair fluttered even though there was no wind, and his eyes shone with a wise and domineering light. She was deeply moved. She was moved that she wasn't an idiot to the end. A few months ago, she finally admitted her mistake to Ling Xiao and even received some pointers from Ling Xiao. If it was the previous her, Ling Xiao wouldn't have saved her. The previous her was arrogant and thought that she was a member of the royal family and didn't place anyone in her eyes. Ling Xiao wasn't even worth mentioning. However, reality had taught her what a true powerhouse was and what true power was. Under her watch, Ling Xiao had grown from an unknown outer sect disciple to the all-powerful core disciple he was today. It had only taken him half a year. "Let's go together," Ling Xiao said indifferently. He once hated Zhao Xi because this woman couldn't distinguish right from wrong. However, there wasn't any deep hatred between him and Zhao Xi. After Zhao Xi changed, they had some interactions. After all, this princess of Northern Han was Zhao Ji's little sister. Everyone entered the True Devil Imperial Palace together. However, they discovered that the people who had entered earlier were all squeezed into the spacious passageway. At the entrance of the passageway, there was a beautiful crystal-like wall. On the wall, there was actually a moving picture as if it was alive. These scenes were played repeatedly. They were all scenes of the true Devil Supreme, Lord ascending to the throne. Near the wall, a corpse was placed there. It looked like it had been electrocuted, and its death was somewhat miserable. The reason why no one was willing to go over was probably because of this corpse. "They're all a bunch of F***king cowards. Watch me." Suddenly, a voice rang out from the crowd. It was a half-step Empyrean level martial artist with 50% of his strength. He was very tall and sturdy, and with a loud shout, he pounced towards the crystal wall. However, in the next moment, a horrifying scene occurred. The moment that person's body touched the crystal wall, his entire body seemed to have been struck by lightning. His skin was completely charred black, and even his bones were exposed. It was simply too horrible to look at. It was exactly the same as the person who had died before. What the hell? The people who had originally planned to move forward suddenly stopped. This scene was too terrifying, and no one dared to rashly try it. This is a special barrier of the True Devil Imperial Palace. It's called wall painting. The name sounds very nice, right? However, it's something that can kill people. Feng Yara walked out and said slowly, as expected of a disciple of the Heavenly Dragon Academy, this person was quite knowledgeable. What the hell is this wall painting? How can we get past it? Someone asked anxiously. You're asking me? I don't know, but it said that the wall painting is arranged with a very complex spirit array. It can easily kill Yin-Yang Realm cultivators, not to mention Heaven Realm and Grotto Heaven Realm cultivators. Us Transcendents will just be throwing our lives away if we go. Feng Yaorao shrugged her shoulders. Ling Xiao was a little puzzled. If that was the case, Then how did those people pass through before? There must be a reason behind it. Thinking of this, he activated his mountain and river martial spirit and began to investigate, hoping to find some clues. At this time, a few more cultivators rushed in from the outside. They were probably the last batch. Look, the entrance outside is closed. Does this mean that only these 300 people passed the test? That's right. The others are either eliminated or dead. The person who said this was definitely someone who was familiar with the situation in the True Devil Forbidden Area. Ling Xiao, get out here for father! Suddenly a voice roared. It was Tang Jiu. Ling Xiao naturally knew who he was shouting and asked indifferently, I wonder if Brother Tang has any orders? Orders? Did you kill my brother Tang Chi? Tang Jiu asked coldly. His voice was as cold as ice, causing the people nearby to tremble. What a joke, which eye of yours saw it? Ling Xiao asked back. You come here. Tang Jiu directly shouted at a disciple of the Poison King sect. Chapter 7:27. That person walked over obediently and pointed at Ling Xiao. That's right, Senior Tang Jiu. It's Ling Xiao who killed Senior Tang Chi. Did you hear that, Ling Xiao? Tang Jiu asked. Brother Tang Jiu, please calm down. You can't start a conflict just because of one side of the story. The Poison King sect's disciples died in the hands of Ling Xiao. Naturally, the disciples of the Poison King sect would frame Ling Xiao. At this moment, someone actually stood up for Ling Xiao. This surprised Ling Xiao. He didn't seem to have any friends outside. Decepticons? Ling Xiao finally recognized who the other party was. It turned out to be Decepticons from the Beast King Palace. This person was an honest person. Tang Jiu snorted and suddenly attacked. A cold light flashed in his hand and a poisonous dart hit Decepticon's body. This was the result of Decepticon's strong defense and fast reaction. Otherwise, he would have died. This Tang Jiu was really overbearing. He didn't allow anyone to speak for Ling Xiao. Brother Ba, thank you for speaking up for justice. This is the antidote from the Tang sect. Take it. I did kill Tang Chi. Not only him, but the people around him were also killed by me. Tang Jiu, what are you going to do about it? Ling Xiao's antidote was obtained from Tang Chi's storage ring. It could cure ordinary poisons. Tang Jiu's poisonous dart wasn't a special one, so there was no problem. Oh no, Brother Ling, you're too impulsive. This Tang Jiu is so cruel. How could you admit it? Long Qin was so scared that his face turned pale. Tang Jiu was too terrifying. Offending such a person was not enough even if he had 10 lives. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Long Qin, don't worry. He can't do anything to me. This Tang Jiu is really cruel and overbearing. Decepticons only spoke out for justice and was almost killed by him. Isn't he afraid of offending the Beast King Palace? Lan knew or couldn't help but say, Senior Sister Lan, this is the law of the jungle. The Tang sect is stronger than the Beast King Palace. Furthermore, the 3 sects of the south seem to have formed an alliance. They might be looking for an opportunity to destroy the Beast King Palace and Yuehua School. Ling Xiao sighed. What nonsense are you spouting? Did you just admit that you killed my elder brother? Tang Jiu walked towards Ling Xiao with a gloomy face and questioned. The rest of the Yuehua School students were very nervous. Lan Yu almost made a move. However, Ling Xiao was still as calm as ever. That's right, I admit it. What do you think? They tried to kill me, but I killed them in passing. If he wanted to kill you, you should have obediently knelt down and let him kill you. How dare you resist? Tang Jiu said, coldly. I'll give you a chance now. Kneel down, kowtow, admit your mistake, and then kill yourself. Otherwise, I'll kill everyone from Yuehua School. You can try. I guarantee that you'll die earlier than them. Ling Xiao didn't budge an inch. The situation was in a stalemate. No one was willing to give in, so there had to be a winner in the end. It was hard to say what the result would be. Other than the Yuehua school students and Longchin, the rest of the sects were watching the show. The tyrannical sky tiger couldn't bear to see Tang Jiu die, but he had no other choice. The strength that Tang Jiu had just displayed was too terrifying. He was immobilized in a single move and had almost killed him. The tyrannical sky tiger didn't dare to provoke such a terrifying person. Junior brother, your cultivation has improved greatly. Why don't you help us? Decepticons looked at Ingwea and said. Ingwea shook his head. It's best not to provoke trouble that we shouldn't. The Yuehua school's matter has nothing to do with the Beast King Palace. That's right. Senior brother Ing is right. It's not worth offending Tangjiu for the sake of the Yuehua school. Ling Xiao didn't know when to stop and was arrogant. He deserved to die. That's right. Ling Xiao killed many of our people. We should be happy that he's dead. That's right. Even if we want to help, we should help Tangjiu, not Ling Xiao. The few remaining disciples of the Beast King Palace were gloating over their misfortune. The hatred of the Sword King sect was even more obvious. Senior sister, Master said that we should deal with Ling Xiao. It seems like it won't be our turn. Ling Xiao has offended many people. Chen Meng nodded. Let's wait and see. We can't say for sure until the end. She hated and feared Ling Xiao at the same time. Ling Xiao's performance was too shocking. She couldn't help but be cautious. Of course, if Ling Xiao died, everyone would be happy. She wouldn't have to worry about him anymore. It would also save her a lot of trouble. I think that if Tang Jiu makes a move, Ling Xiao won't be the only one to die in the Yuehua school. Everyone else will be finished as well. I really want to see Wu Xiang's expression. Wasn't he very arrogant when he was in the Sword King sect? These two factions had a grudge against Ling Xiao. Naturally, they wouldn't be polite with their words. The rest of the people were relatively neutral in their discussion. However, they still didn't think highly of the Yuehua school. This is called being impulsive. He's too ignorant and hasn't seen the world. He thinks that he can be arrogant outside just because he's invincible in his own faction. If Tang Jiu makes a move, Ling Xiao won't be the only one to die. Everyone else will be buried with him. This is the price of being impulsive. Although Tang Jiu is very overbearing and unreasonable, this is the axiom of the mystic world. Whoever is stronger has the right to speak and can decide the life and death of others. The discussion was very loud. However, Ling Xiao didn't care. He had seen this kind of scene many times. It could be said that he was always met with voices of distrust and disbelief. However, every time he was able to surprise these people who looked down on him. This time was no exception. As long as Tang Jiu dared to make a move, he would make Tang Jiu pay the price. He wasn't confident that he could beat Tang Jiu, but he definitely wouldn't lose either. At most, the two of them would fight to the death. However, he believed that if there was one person who could survive in the end, it would be him. Tang Jiu's attacks were powerful and his hidden weapons were powerful. However, his defense was his weakness. Compared to Tang Jiu, Ling Xiao didn't have any obvious flaws. However, he wasn't mediocre in all aspects. He was very outstanding in all aspects. Ha ha ha, interesting. Very interesting. This is the first time I, Tang Jiu, have seen someone so unyielding in front of me. Since you're not willing to kneel and commit suicide, I'll kill you with my own hands and avenge my brother. Tang Jiu was so angry that he laughed. Buzz! With a loud sound, the phantom of 1,000 hands appeared behind him. Is this your first time? When you met the 6th young master of the sacred dynasty, didn't you act like a grandson? The phantom of a huge demonic sword also appeared behind Ling Xiao's back. Ha ha ha, Tang Jiu, this kid is mocking you. Hurry up and make a move. I'm getting impatient. If you're afraid, let me do it. This kid is heartbroken and can be considered the common enemy of our 3 sections. It's the same if I kill him. Li Yudao laughed heartily. The muscles at the corner of Tang Jiu's mouth twitched violently. He had to make a move now, even if he didn't want to. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get out of this embarrassing situation. Chapter 728. Both of them have released their martial souls. It seems like they are going to play for real. Ling Xiao's martial soul is not weak either. It will be an exciting battle. Interesting. Ling Xiao did not have a sword in his hand. However, the evil aura produced by the demon's sword seemed to be able to cut through the surrounding bricks and stones. This level of sword aura is really amazing. Many people who looked down on Ling Xiao were stunned. They could not believe what they were seeing. But even so, they still felt that Ling Xiao would lose and die. Look, the wall painting is open. Just when the two of them were about to draw their swords, a voice suddenly rang out. The two of them looked at the wall painting at the same time. In the wall painting that was originally complete, there was actually a door that can be passed through. Ha. You guys can continue to cause trouble. I'm going to go treasure hunting. Army Breaker laughed heartily and quickly flew through the door. There was no danger and he flew in unscathed. The martial artists who were still worried about him rushed out when they saw the situation. In an instant, the people who were waiting to watch the show had all left. Only the people from Sword King sect seemed to be reluctant to leave. They wanted to see Ling Xiao get killed. Senior Lan, you guys go first. I can deal with Tang Jiu alone. Ling Xiao said softly. But can you do it? Lan Yuer was worried. The rest of the people did not want to leave him behind. Go, it's useless for you guys to stay. Ling Xiao said in a heavy tone. No one can leave. You killed my brother. You will die here. Tang Jiu suddenly left Ling Xiao and rushed towards Lan Yuer. Whoosh! A sword light blocked in front of him, forcing him to stop in his tracks. In front of me, Ling Xiao, you can't hurt the people from Yuehua School. Ling Xiao was confident. Let's go. Lan Yuer also realized that if they did not leave, they would only cause trouble for Ling Xiao. Senior Brother Ling, take care. Big Brother Ling, you must be fine. Several people also walked through the door one after another. Ling Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. With them around, it would be a little troublesome because that might become his weakness. But now there was no problem. Senior Brother Tang Jiu, Senior Brother Liu Dao sent a message from 1,000 miles away. He said that he found a treasure and asked you to hurry over. At this moment, the disciples of the Tang sect also shouted at Tang Jiu. Humph. Ling Xiao, remember this. Even if you enter, you will still die. I don't have the time to fight with you now. Once I get the treasure, it will be your time to die. You'd better use the secret scroll to escape, or you'll definitely die. Tang Jiu snorted coldly and turned around to leave. This guy was so angry just now. Now, it seemed like he didn't have much feelings for his so-called elder brother Tang Qi. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to leave so easily. At least in Tang Jiu's heart, the treasure was far more valuable than avenging his elder brother. Tang Jiu left with the people of the Tang sect. Lan Yu, and the others who had already entered the door returned. You guys! Seeing these people, Ling Xiao couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. At the end of the day, these people still cared about him. Indeed, if you treat people with sincerity, you'll eventually be rewarded. Don't say anything. Who asked us to owe you a favor? To be honest, if Tang Jiu really attacked today, we might not be able to stop him, but we can still create some trouble for him. Lan Yuer said with a smile. The others nodded as well. But it's really dangerous. Fortunately, the wall painting suddenly opened. Otherwise, Tang Jiu wouldn't have let it go so easily. Senior Brother Ling, what should we do next? Lung Hao asked. At this moment, there was no one outside the door. The people of the Sword King sect also left after the people of the Tang sect left. That's right, Big Brother Ling. Although Tang Jiu has left now, wouldn't it be a problem if we meet him inside again? Although this person is extremely detestable, he's really too strong. Even if we join forces, we might not be a match for him. Long Chen said, Brother Long, you're overestimating others and underestimating our own strength. Senior Brother Ling is much stronger than you think. Zhao Ji was blindly worshipping Ling Xiao. After all, he had watched Ling Xiao rise all the way. Ling Xiao had created too many miracles. He's really strong. Ling Xiao nodded and said, but he's not as scary as you think. To be honest, if someone had to die in the battle just now, it definitely wouldn't be me. After saying that, he lifted his foot and walked towards the door. Let's hurry up and leave. There should be a time limit for this door to be open. It'll close soon. It was true that he could kill Tang Jiu, but with his current strength, if he didn't enter his immemorial golden dragon form, it would definitely be a Pyrrhic victory. That was why he didn't chase after Tang Jiu. After all, there were more important things to do. The others looked at each other and were a little surprised by Ling Xiao's words. However, since Ling Xiao said so, he definitely wasn't just spouting nonsense. This was because Ling Xiao was never that kind of person. After everyone entered the door for about 2 to 3 minutes, the door completely disappeared. In the silent hall, only the empty sound of the wind was left. Why is the palace filled with water? After entering the door, everyone discovered a strange phenomenon. The inside was completely sealed. It was like a huge and beautiful fish tank. It was filled with water, and there were also some strange rocks and plants. The most peculiar thing was that this wasn't ordinary fresh water. It was seawater from the deep sea. The concentration was much higher than fresh water. Once it entered one's stomach, it would be a big problem. Rumor has it that the true demon's empire is actually the sea tribe that emerged from the bottom of the sea. Although they can live on land, they prefer the deep sea. It's not strange that the palace is like this. Ling Xiao explained. Ling Xiao had confirmed this in the sea near Tianfeng City. It shouldn't be fake. Sea tribe. It was obvious that the others had never heard of the sea tribe. There's really a tribe that lives in the deep sea. Lung Hao couldn't help but ask. Quiet first. I feel that something is wrong. There's a very dangerous aura. Ling Xiao didn't answer Lung Hao's question. Instead, he waved his hand and signaled for everyone to keep quiet. Using his mountain river martial soul, Ling Xiao could see further. There was a massacre happening there. The ones who died were martial artists. The ones who attacked were a group of strange crocodiles that were about 7 to 8 meters long. These crocodiles had scales that were as hard as iron. The color of the scales was almost the same as the color of the sea. When they completely merged with the water, it was impossible to distinguish them. Just as he was speaking, there were already some red blood stains floating in the sea. Everyone saw it. Zhao Xi was so excited that she almost drank a mouthful of water. Ka! Suddenly, a black shadow pounced at Ling Xiao. Then it opened its huge teeth and bit at Ling Xiao's body. Chapter 729. The black shadow that suddenly appeared bit towards Ling Xiao at an extremely fast speed. Its mouth was too big. If it really bit, Ling Xiao's body would definitely be bitten in half. However, this crocodile that was hiding in the dark had already been discovered by Ling Xiao. So it didn't bite Ling Xiao, but a sword that Ling Xiao picked up from the ground. The sword was still intact, and it was a treasure-grade artifact, but it was bitten into pieces by the crocodile in one bite. Die! Ling Xiao suddenly shot out a qi sword from his hand and directly shot it into the crocodile's body. The crocodile struggled a few times, and a large amount of blood flowed out of its mouth before it completely died. It can hide its external defenses amazing, and its teeth are extremely sharp. In terms of sharpness, it's not inferior to an immortal grade artifact, but its internal defense is its weakness. Ling Xiao threw away the broken metal in his hand and then transmitted his voice to the rest of the people to be careful. Senior brother Ling, what is this thing? Lung Hao asked in fear. This is probably a crocodile raised by the true demonic empire. It comes from the deep sea, and its body is huge. It's a ferocious predator. Ling Xiao had always been very studious, whether it was the Ling family, the latent dragon camp, or the Yuehua school. He had carefully read a large number of books. He had some understanding of these strange things. Looks like senior brother Ling's guess was right. This true demonic empire might really be the Sea clan from the deep sea. Zhao Ji said, Yes, the few of you come closer. This way, we can better take care of the surrounding situation. The teeth of the crocodiles are too sharp. Ordinary treasure-grade artifacts won't be able to block them. None of us have any immortal-grade defensive artifacts. We can only make the first move. Ling Xiao called out, Fortunately, these crocodiles aren't too high level. The one just now was only a level 9 beast and not a king beast. You should be able to deal with it. Now that they were together, as the young sect leader of the Yuehua school and the sect leader of the Divine Sword sect, he had to do something. In terms of perception and attack power, he was the strongest among them. It was only natural for him to protect his fellow disciples. Everyone followed Ling Xiao's instructions and gathered together, not leaving any gaps in the middle. Then they continued to move forward at a slower pace. From time to time, the corpses of martial artists or the corpses of man-eating crocodiles would float over. It seemed that those martial artists who came in earlier were at a much greater disadvantage than them. They were relatively lucky. Because they came in late, they encountered fewer underwater man-eating crocodiles. Ling Xiao walked at the front. Whenever they encountered a man-eating crocodile, he would be the first to kill it. This made the people walking behind him feel a sense of security and belonging. Perhaps this was what an eldest senior brother should do. At the same time, some people had already passed through the dangerous crocodile area and reached a safer place. The people from the Sword King sect met up with the people from the Heavenly King sect. Luo Tianyu, did you see that Ling Xiao? It was Chun Meng who spoke. Yes, I saw him. That guy dared to provoke the Holy Sun. Don't let me see him again, or I will kill him. Luo Tianyu sneered. When we came in, only Ling Xiao and the rest of the people from the Yuehua school were left outside. If I'm not wrong, they might come in together. At that time, Brother Luo, you can wait for them to come in and kill them all in one fell swoop. Chun Meng said with a smile, Humph, woman, you are really bold. You want to use me? Luo Tianyu snorted. None of the top 100 martial artists were easy to deal with. Luo Tianyu was ranked 60th. Although he was far from Jianwuji, he was still an unattainable expert in front of Chun Meng. He was strong and not stupid. He could tell at a glance that Chun Meng wanted to use him, which made him very unhappy. Do you believe that I won't kill everyone from the Sword King sect right now? Brother Luo, why are you so angry? Ling Xiao is our common enemy. If you can kill him, my senior brother will not mistreat you. In addition to the 1 million mid-tier spiritual stones as a reward, my senior brother will also owe you a favor. Chun Meng said with a smile. She was not afraid that Luo Tianyu would refuse. The reason why he was angry was that he wanted to bargain for some benefits. And the benefits she offered were definitely something that Luo Tianyu could not refuse. 1 million mid-tier spiritual stones was already a huge price, not to mention the favor from Jianwuji. That was the key. To ask Jianwuji, one of the 6 young masters of the sacred dynasty, to do something for her was something that countless people dreamed of. However, Chun Meng obviously underestimated Luo Tianyu's greed. Luo Tianyu sneered and said, 2 million mid-tier spiritual stones and Jianwuji will owe me a favor. Otherwise, forget about it. He did not dare to kill anyone from the Sword King sect. After all, with Jianwuji's strength, once this matter was exposed, he would definitely die without a burial place. But extorting something was not a problem. Fine. 2 million it is. Chen Meng gritted her teeth and nodded. 2 million mid-tier spiritual stones was the entire annual income of the Sword King sect. Chun Meng's heart was bleeding. However, if she could kill Ling Xiao, not to mention 2 million, even 10 million would be worth it. Ling Xiao had killed so many disciples of the Sword King sect. He should have died long ago. It was a miracle that he was still alive. She did not want this person to continue living. Her master did not want this either. Chun Nanqing wanted Ling Xiao's life, even if he had to go bankrupt. Okay, it's a deal, but you better keep your promise. Otherwise, our Heavenly King sect will destroy your Sword King sect. Luo Tianyu smiled sinisterly and looked behind him. It seemed like someone was coming over. Ling Xiao and the others chased and killed the remaining seabed man-eating crocodiles. Finally, they left the most dangerous area. There was no more seawater in front of them, and it became a magnificent scene. It's all thanks to Senior Brother Ling, otherwise I don't know how much danger we would have encountered along the way. Zhao Ji knew very well that if Ling Xiao had not killed the seabed man-eating crocodiles along the way, he would not have made it here. It could be seen from the number of warriors who died in the water. Those were half-step heavenly venerables. Zhao Ji and Zhao Ci were not yet half-step heavenly venerables. Dai Yuling and Leng Hao were not there either. Just as everyone breathed a sigh of relief, a sudden gust of wind blew toward them. Within the gust of wind, there were a few sharp feathers. It seemed harmless, but it was a real killer move. The number of feathers was exactly the same as the number of people Ling Xiao and the others had. It was obviously an attack targeted at them. Humph. Ling Xiao snorted and stabbed with the Hell Dragon sword. A huge black gold chi sword collided with the gust of wind. Rumble. The black gold chi sword and the gust of wind finally collided. The huge explosion even blew up the corpses in the nearby seawater. Seawater splashed everywhere. Chapter 730. Lan Yu and the others were caught off guard and were sent flying by the shockwave. Lan Yu was fine as her cultivation was the strongest, but her face was slightly pale. The others were not so simple. They were all bleeding from their mouths, trembling and feeling suffocated. Luo Tianyu. Ling Xiao remembered this person. He was one of the martial artists that Wu Xiang had introduced. He seemed to be from the Heavenly King sect and was good at Qigong. He was ranked 60th in the last martial arts festival. Oh, I didn't expect you to recognize me. How rare. Luo Tianyu squinted at Ling Xiao and said, Kid, you're quite strong. You can actually block my attack with 50% of my strength. The rest of you are too weak. A good dog doesn't block the way. You stopped us and attacked us. Don't tell me it's just a coincidence. Ling Xiao added another person to his death list. He was not a bloodthirsty person. But if someone wanted to kill him, he would not show mercy regardless of whether he succeeded or not. Luo Tianyu's current strength was not as strong as Tang Jiao and Liu Dao. Ling Xiao was confident that he could kill him without expending too much energy. However, he had to figure out why Luo Tianyu attacked them and whether there was a mastermind behind it. Luo Tianyu shrugged and said, Of course it's not an accident or a coincidence. There are 2 reasons why I attacked you. First, His Highness the Holy Sun hates you. Second, someone spent a lot of money to buy your heads. I'm just trying to earn some pocket money. Who? Lan Yu asked doubtfully. Could it be Tang Jiao? Impossible. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, Tang Jiao is stronger than this guy. There's no need to spend a lot of money to hire him. If I'm not wrong, it's most likely the Sword King sect. His hatred for the Sword King sect had faded a little, and he did not want to kill them. After all, he had already taken his revenge. But now, the hatred in his heart surged again. He was kind, but not only did they not appreciate it, but they also wanted his life. In that case, the Sword King sect should not continue to exist in this world. Pa pa pa. Luo Tianyu clapped his hands and said, "You're really smart. Since you've guessed it, I won't beat around the bush. The Sword King sect gave me 2 million mid-grade spirit stones to take your lives, and also made Jian Wuji owe me a favor. If you can give me more, I'll help you kill them." This guy was really shameless. He didn't have any professional ethics at all. Even if he was an assassin, he had to keep his employer's secret. This guy wasn't an assassin, so he didn't even bother to keep it a secret. It really is the Sword King sect. What a huge sum. 2 million mid-grade spirit stones. Unfortunately, we can't afford it. Ling Xiao was a little envious. Since you can't afford it, I can only take action. However, I don't want to kill too many people. How about this? If any of you can kill Ling Xiao, I will spare your life. Consider it a chance. Luo Tianyu said with a smile. This person was really vicious. Not only did he want to kill Ling Xiao, but he also deliberately created conflict so that Ling Xiao could die with grievances, as expected of the Holy Sun's dog. However, his vicious trick didn't have any effect in the end. No one would attack Ling Xiao. Let's not talk about their feelings for Ling Xiao. In terms of strength, no one else was a match for Ling Xiao. If they attacked Ling Xiao, they would die faster. Idiot! Idiot! Ling Xiao looked at Luo Tianyu and said, "Dog, what are you talking about? Forget it. Just because of what you said, it's useless even if you kneel down and beg for mercy. You must die." Luo Tianyu didn't expect that Ling Xiao would dare to scold him. Ling Xiao said indifferently, "You're the one who deserves to die." Luo Tianyu's face was gloomy. He said ferociously, "You're lucky to have escaped from Tangjiu. How dare you come and make a fuss in front of me? Don't worry, I won't kill you immediately. I'll break every bone in your body and make you kneel in front of me and beg for mercy." About a few hundred meters away, Chen Meng and Ao Chu were hiding behind a wall, spying on the situation. As for Jian Feng, he was nowhere to be seen. He probably didn't want to be in the same boat as these two. "Senior sister, this Luo Tianyu is so strong. He can definitely kill Ling Xiao easily. But aren't we giving him too much?" Ao Chu was a little uncomfortable. If he were given all 2 million mid-grade spiritual stones, it would be enough for him to cultivate for a long time. Qin Meng shook her head and said, "No, the spiritual stones are a small matter. Luo Tianyu ranked 60th in the last martial arts festival. He's a half-step heavenly venerable with 70% of his strength. Because of his outstanding movement technique, it's easy for him to kill martial artists of the same level. I'm not worried about whether he can kill Ling Xiao. I'm worried about whether Ling Xiao can inflict serious damage on him." "What do you mean?" Ao Chu didn't quite understand Qin Meng's thoughts. "You said it yourself. 2 million mid-grade spiritual stones is not a small amount. How can I be willing to give it to Luo Tianyu?" Qin Meng said coldly, "I understand, senior sister. You mean to wait until they're both injured. Then we'll reap the benefits. We'll kill Luo Tianyu and frame Ling Xiao, right?" Ao Chu instantly understood. "Yes, that's what I mean. Ling Xiao must die. Luo Tianyu must die. Anyone who dares to threaten our Sword King sect must die." Chen Meng revealed a ferocious expression. "Senior sister, you're so smart and ruthless." Ao Chu sighed in his heart. Fortunately, he was a disciple of the Sword King sect. Otherwise, he didn't know how Qin Meng would have schemed against him. While Ao Chu had his own plans, the battle had already begun. Since he knew who sent Luo Tianyu, Ling Xiao didn't need to waste any more time. The overflow rain sword appeared in his hand. He stirred the seawater behind him and condensed a huge sword with seawater attached to it. The sword flashed, and a terrifying sword chi rushed towards Luo Tianyu. At that moment, Luo Tianyu felt as if he was standing on a mountain of blades. There were sharp auras everywhere, causing his hair to stand on end. Then he heard Ling Xiao's voice. Luo Tianyu, as a disciple of the Heavenly King sect, you originally had a bright future ahead of you. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have attacked us. From the moment you attacked us, you were destined to become a dead dog, slumbering in the true devil forbidden area, forever forgotten by people. Ling Xiao didn't plan to show mercy once he attacked. After being in the seawater for so long, he finally comprehended the second move of the shadow sword technique. It was just the right time to test its power on Luo Tianyu. Luo Tianyu wasn't as good as Tang Jiu. As a test subject, he was the most suitable. The overflow rain sword had become huge because of the seawater. Ling Xiao could no longer hold it with both hands. However, his body was gradually changing. Chapter 731. The phantom of the evil beast demon appeared behind Ling Xiao. His body seemed to be covered in a layer of armor of the man-eating crocodile. His entire body became enormous. He was at least 6 or 7 meters tall and exuded an evil aura. When Ling Xiao fought, he always used his martial skills according to the actual situation. The evil beast demon king, martial spirit, was used at the right time. Shadow sword technique. 1,000 waves of raging sea. Ling Xiao, who had transformed into a giant monster, waved the huge overflow rain sword in his hand. Then, the sword chi turned into layers of giant waves that slapped toward Luo Tianyu. These huge waves were incomparably sharp. When they came into contact with the nearby buildings, they could easily cut the buildings in half. Monster! Luo Tianyu was experienced and knowledgeable, but he was still shocked by Ling Xiao's transformation. That ferocious and cold transformation, that huge long sword, and that surging, murderous aura. He was completely intimidated by this scene. Wasn't his opponent a half-step celestial master with 20% of his strength? How did he suddenly become so strong? What was going on? After a moment of shock, he channeled his vital essence, and his body suddenly emitted a white light. Behind him, the shadow of another white skylark appeared. The skylark martial soul. No wonder he was so fast. Flying cloud strike. Luo Tianyu suddenly accelerated. His body seemed to have turned into a skylark as he crashed into the layers of sword chi at an extremely fast speed. Bang! 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 Luo Tianyu kept retreating. His body was already stained with dark red blood. He was injured. Although it wasn't very serious, he couldn't accept being stabbed by Ling Xiao's sword. Bastard, I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Luo Tianyu was furious. His full-strength attack couldn't even block one of Luo Tianyu's sword techniques. This was simply a great humiliation. If news of this spread, Luo Tianyu wouldn't be able to live anymore. His flying cloud strike came from the Heavenly King sect. It was one of the moves of the flying cloud kick, a top-tier gold martial art. He did not believe that a mere core disciple of the Yuehua sect would be able to learn better martial arts than him. In his rage, Luo Tianyu completely lost his mind. His body began to spin continuously on the spot. A gust of wind blew, and his body became faster and faster. Boom! Flying cloud perishing strike. Luo Tianyu believed that his defense was much stronger than Ling Xiao's since he was a half-step heavenly venerable one with 70% of his strength. Therefore, he planned to use this most terrifying attack to kill Ling Xiao. As long as Ling Xiao died, the rest of the people would not be able to do anything. When Luo Tianyu flew toward Ling Xiao, his whole body seemed to have turned into a white light. Along with the surrounding rubble and iron, he shot toward Ling Xiao. Even the air seemed to condense into a terrifying sharp blade, wanting to pierce through Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao stood there with a calm face. His eyes were fixed on the overflow rain sword in his hand, as if he didn't care about Luo Tianyu's attack at all. And that was the truth. At this moment, Ling Xiao was considering the effects of this attack. The power is not bad. Without incorporating the power of celestial phenomenon and willpower, it was able to force back Luo Tianyu, who is a half-step, heavenly venerable one with 70% of his strength. It is indeed a good move. Next, let's try incorporating the power of celestial phenomenon. Wind celestial phenomenon. Raging waves of 1,000 layers. A gust of wind blew, and the waves became even stronger. The 1,000-layer waves were formed by the 13 sword soul doppelgangers. Wave after wave, they produced powerful attacks of the water element. Combined with wind celestial phenomenon, the power of the waves was increased by at least 40%. Unlike the murderous aura of the advent of the sword demon, the effect of the raging waves of 1,000 layers was more durable. The longer it was used, the more terrifying the power would be. One was a powerful killing move that could kill instantly. The other was a long-lasting move that could be unleashed slowly. However, both were very powerful. It was hard to say which was stronger, but the key was when to use it. The waves of sword chi were even more ferocious. Boom, 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 boom. The sound of waves crashing against the shore was endless. Although Luo Tianyu's moves were ferocious, he could not get close to Ling Xiao at all. As soon as he got close, he was sent flying by a wave. Then another wave followed. He did not even have the chance to get up. What kind of terrifying sword technique is this? How can it be so powerful and last for so long? It is much more terrifying than before. Luo Tianyu was inexplicably shocked. He thought that 2 million mid-grade spirit stones would be easy to earn, but now it seemed that the situation was much more serious than he had imagined. Uft! A wave of sword chi smashed into Luo Tianyu's left shoulder. A huge wound appeared on his left arm, and blood flowed out. Flying feather body. Luo Tianyu was anxious. He stopped attacking Ling Xiao and used all his true essence to defend himself. The skylark behind him flickered and suddenly became huge. Then, a pair of wings completely covered Luo Tianyu. Even though the sword chi kept coming, they were all blocked by the feathers, unable to cause any damage. Not good. Luo Tianyu's defensive technique should be a jade grade entry level martial art. Its defense is too strong. Junior brother Ling is in trouble. Lan Yu, Er's vision was higher. While the others were still puzzled, she had already seen through the martial art that her opponent was using. Hearing Lan Yu, Er's words, Dai Yuling Lung Hao, and the others were a little anxious. At this time, Qin Meng and Ao Chu, who were behind the wall, were also stunned. Senior sister, how did Ling Xiao become so powerful? Although he won against the Decepticons, it was not easy. The Decepticons were not worth mentioning in front of Luo Tianyu. What's going on now? Ao Chu could not believe his eyes. Chen Meng was also inexplicably shocked. This Ling Xiao, I'm afraid that he hid his strength back then. Or maybe he has improved too quickly during this period. Fortunately, we did not attack him ourselves. Otherwise, we would not be able to face such a terrifying sword technique. We would both die. Yes, Ao Chu felt the same. But don't worry too much. Luo Tianyu's defensive technique is a jade grade entry level martial art of the Heavenly King sect. No matter how strong Ling Xiao's attack is, it is impossible to break it. After a long time, Ling Xiao will inevitably exhaust his true essence. He will definitely suffer a great loss. Qin Meng smiled. Yes, Luo Tianyu's defense is so strong, and his cultivation is obviously much higher than Ling Xiao's. In terms of endurance, Luo Tianyu is definitely stronger than Ling Xiao. In this battle, Ling Xiao is doomed. Ao Chu nodded, showing a gratified expression. Clang, 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 clang. The waves kept slapping on the wings wrapped around Luo Tianyu, splashing out countless sparks. It looked like beautiful fireworks. However, no matter how fierce the waves of sword chi attacked, the wings were as immovable as a mountain. There was no sign of damage at all. There was not even a trace of damage on it. Chapter 732. If he couldn't break through Luo Tianyu's defense, he wouldn't be able to kill him. Everyone could see that. Ha ha ha, Ling Xiao. I admit that I've underestimated you. Your attack is indeed incomparably powerful and shocking, but so what? You can't break through my defense. You can't defeat my Jade grade entry level defensive martial skill. So you can injure me. Ha ha ha. When you're almost exhausted, it'll be your time to die. Luo Tianyu laughed excitedly. He had been at a disadvantage in the previous exchanges, which he couldn't accept. Now that he finally had some advantage with his Jade grade entry level defensive martial art, he felt that victory was in his grasp. This defensive martial art was performed with his martial soul, so others couldn't use it. Otherwise, even in the Heavenly King sect, there would be a group of people fighting to learn it. Many people knew that his movement skill was fast, but only those who were familiar with him knew that his defense was more terrifying than his movement skill. The Heavenly King sect was a gathering of stars and geniuses. His overall strength couldn't be ranked in the top 30, but his defense could be ranked in the top 10. Except for the core disciples of the Heavenly King sect, no one could hurt him. The 10 core disciples of the Heavenly King sect were ranked in the top 20 in the last martial arts festival. What was Ling Xiao? He was nothing. Ling Xiao looked at Luo Tianyu indifferently and began to slowly integrate the destructive will into his moves. Luo Tianyu didn't notice it. Luo Tianyu was like a turtle hiding in its shell. He believed that his shell's defense was so strong that it could block Ling Xiao's attack. He didn't dare to poke his head out because he was afraid that Ling Xiao would take the opportunity to give him a fatal blow. He was now in a perfect defense, waiting for Ling Xiao to be exhausted. Then he could win. Although he was a little aggrieved now, he would be able to ruthlessly break Ling Xiao's neck later and use it to vent his displeasure. Thinking about it, this feeling was actually quite good. Lan Yu, and the others didn't have Luo Tianyu's terrifying defense. Just the true essence fluctuations that radiated out were enough to seriously injure them. Therefore, they had no choice but to retreat far away. They were already several hundred meters away from the battle between the two. Then, they relied on the extraordinary eyesight of a martial artist to observe the battle. Senior Brother Ling is really amazing. It's been a quarter of an hour, but he's still able to keep attacking. He's even able to tie with Luo Tianyu, who was ranked 60th in the last martial arts festival. No, he has the upper hand. Zhao Ji said excitedly. He was really happy because as long as one of the students from Yuehua School could enter the top 100, it would be a record-breaking. Ling Zhao's current strength should be more than enough to rank in the top 100. Don't be too optimistic. The situation is extremely disadvantageous for Junior Brother Ling. Lan Yu frowned. Disadvantageous? How is it disadvantageous? Isn't Senior Brother Ling very calm? Zhao Ji was quite puzzled, and so was Lung Hao. Lan Yu said in a deep voice, "You should know that the half-step Celestial Master Realm is the process of accumulating strength and true essence. At the same time, 9 martial veins are cultivated into one celestial vein. The gap between them is ultimately the gap between their true essences. Junior Brother Ling is only a half-step Celestial Master with 20% of his strength. His total true essence is incomparable to Luo Tianyu with 70% of his strength. The gap is too big. The gap between each level is at least double. 5 levels means more than 5 times. No wonder Senior Sister Lan was so worried just now. Now it seems that it's true." Lung Hao also showed a worried expression. "You worry too much." At this time, Dai Yuling said with a smile, "If Luo Tianyu intends to compete with Junior Brother Ling in terms of endurance, then he's really picked the wrong person. In the end, he may not even know how he died." "What do you mean?" Dai Yuling's words were even more confusing. Junior Brother Ling's total true essence is probably more than the celestial being realm experts in the one-line sky realm. A half-step celestial master with 70% of his strength is nothing. If Luo Tianyu wants to defeat junior brother Ling in a short time, it's a smart move. If he wants to stall for time, he can only die miserably. After all, Dai Yuling came to the Yuehua school with Ling Xiao from the latent dragon camp. She knew Ling Xiao far better than the others. However, Lan Yu, and the others were still skeptical about her words. Was Ling Xiao's true essence really that strong? Behind the wall, hundreds of meters away from the battlefield, Chen Meng showed a satisfied smile. Finally, it's finally over. After a period of time, Ling Xiao would become an ice-cold corpse, and his explosion before death will also seriously injure Luo Tianyu. At that time, we can go and pick up the scraps. Ao Chu naturally understood Chen Meng's meaning. Those who could become core disciples were generally not stupid. Hee, senior sister, you're right. Ling Xiao is new to Jianghu and doesn't know what fighting is. Ling Xiao is just attacking blindly. He doesn't know that the more he attacks, the closer he is to death. This stupid method will only speed up his time in hell. Chen Meng nodded and said, that's right. You keep an eye on those people from the Yuehua school. I'll deal with Lan Yu, you kill the rest. No problem, senior sister. I can handle those good-for-nothings, Ao Chu said excitedly. Crack! Suddenly a sound rang out. This sound attracted the attention of Chen Meng, Ao Chu, and Lan Yu. What happened? Look, the wing is cracked. Zhao Ji had the black-winged rock martial soul, so his eyes were very sharp. He immediately saw the crack in Luo Tianyu's wing. Impossible. Luo Tianyu was the first to bear the brunt. Naturally, he also felt the pain of his wing cracking. Nothing is impossible. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, your defense is really strong. It consumed 30% of my destructive will to create a crack. But that's all. A small hole could destroy a 1,000-mile dike. Even if it was just a crack, it meant that the perfect defense had been broken. Ling Xiao suddenly increased the input of true essence, and an even more violent wave hit the wing. Crack! It broke. The pure white wing defense was completely shattered. The terrifying sword Qi penetrated the wing and pierced Luo Tianyu's body, which was so weak that it had no true essence left. Puff! Luo Tianyu's eyes widened as he spat out a mouthful of thick blood. There were even fragments of his internal organs in the blood. He had used all of his true essence on the defensive martial arts he had learned before. He even withdrew his protective true essence. He absolutely didn't believe that his defense could be broken. But now the cruel reality told him that his defense was broken and his life was at stake. Stop! Luo Tianyu suddenly shouted, I'm a disciple of the Heavenly King sect and an inner disciple. If you kill me, the Heavenly King sect will hunt you down until you die. Chapter 733. Luo Tianyu's threat was nothing more than a last-ditch effort. Without the strength to fight against Ling Xiao, he used his sect to pressure Ling Xiao. The Heavenly King sect was the leader of the 12 sects and the only one that could be considered a ninth-rate sect. If Ling Xiao dared to kill him, the Heavenly King sect would definitely go after the Yuehua school. They would even be willing to massacre the Yuehua school. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, the Heavenly King sect is really strong. I am indeed a little afraid. That's right. If you are afraid, then stop attacking. Your every move will not only involve yourself, but also the entire Yuehua school. You better think carefully. Luo Tianyu was overjoyed when he saw that Ling Xiao had stopped attacking. Although he was trying to persuade and warn Ling Xiao, he was thinking viciously in his heart, you have offended me today. In the future, I will kill the Yuehua school and kill everyone in the Yuehua school. Idiot, it's useless even if you let me go. Ha ha ha. The wild laughter in his heart came to an abrupt end. He found that his body was beginning to fall apart as if it had been cut by countless sword auras. Not a single part of his body was intact. Idiot! I have offended the Holy Sun. Why would I be afraid to kill you? Besides, the Heavenly King sect will not let me go even if I don't kill you. Ling Xiao had been aware of this for a long time. From the day he offended the Holy Sun, he knew very well that there would be an irreconcilable hatred between him and the Heavenly King sect. Unless the sect leader of the Heavenly King sect was a wise man who would not go against him for the Holy Sun. But obviously that was not very likely. Ha ha ha! Senior Brother Ling is too strong. You have killed the 60th person in the martial arts festival. Zhao Ji burst out laughing in the midst of his shock. But I am afraid that Senior Brother Ling will not have peace from now on. Luo Tianyu is an inner disciple of the Heavenly King sect. The Heavenly King sect will not let this go easily. Zhao Xiai said worriedly. It doesn't matter. If I don't kill him, the result will be the same. I might as well kill him and have a good time. What's more, my feud with the Heavenly King sect is with the Holy Sun. Compared to the Holy Sun, this Luo Tianyu is just a piece of trash. Ling Xiao waved his hand, not minding it. If a martial artist wasn't being hunted down, then he must be a mediocre person. Ling Xiao liked this kind of pressure. Under this kind of pressure, he could grow faster. What Junior Brother Ling said is right. The world of martial artists is like this. If you don't kill him, he will definitely kill you in the future. If you kill him first, you might be fine. Lan Yu nodded. Behind the wall, Chun Meng and Ao Chu were terrified. How is that possible? How could this be? How could Ling Xiao kill Luo Tianyu? How could he have that kind of ability? Ao Chu kept repeating the same sentence. Calm down. Although there was an accident, Ling Xiao killed Luo Tianyu. He definitely won't survive. The people of the Heavenly King sect won't let him go. Once we get out, we will tell the people of the Heavenly King sect what happened here. Chun Meng was calmer than Ao Chu. Although she was also terrified, she could still maintain some rationality and knew what to do next. She really didn't expect Ling Xiao to defeat Luo Tianyu. Moreover, he dared to kill Luo Tianyu, even though he knew that Luo Tianyu was a disciple of the Heavenly King sect. This was too ruthless. Yes, senior sister, you're right. This Ling Xiao is finished. He's completely finished. His life is ruined. He won't have the chance to rise again. Ao Chu suddenly came to a realization and revealed a trembling and excited expression. He was afraid and excited at the same time. Hee, what are you whispering about? Do you want me to join in? Suddenly, a devilish voice sounded beside Chun Meng and Ao Chu. Chun Meng instantly used a secret scroll and escaped. This woman was really decisive. However, Ao Chu was one step too slow. Ling Xiao's sword pierced his throat. He didn't even have time to breathe before he died. Oh no, I didn't expect Chun Meng to be so decisive. Forget it. Anyway, this matter can't be hidden. If she wants to complain, then let her. Our Yuehua school can use the Heavenly King sect to establish our prestige. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Chun Meng's escape didn't bother him at all. Instead, it made him excited. This was a complete lunatic. Junior Brother Ling, what should we do now? If Chun Meng really tells the Heavenly King sect about what happened here, with their usual style, they will definitely find fault with us, right? Lan Yu frowned and asked. Now is the critical period of the Sacred Dynasty's martial arts festival. Killing each other in the preliminaries is tacitly agreed. The Heavenly King sect won't make too big of a move. There may be some local conflicts, but with the Moon Maiden and Senior Brother Wu, there won't be any trouble. Ling Xiao analyzed. The key is after the martial arts festival. At that time, the Heavenly King sect will be free to deal with our Yuehua school. But at that time, there may be other changes. Forget it. Anyway, it's useless for us to worry. It's better to work hard to improve our strength. Once a big battle occurs, we can play a key role. Lan Yu listened to Ling Xiao's analysis and agreed. Senior brother Ling, how do you know that the two guys from the Sword King sect are hiding nearby? They are 400 or 500 meters away. You were so focused on the battle just now. How can you multitask? Lang Hao was interested in something else. It's nothing. I've been able to multitask for a long time. I'm just more skilled at it now. And look, what is this? There was a black and white moth in Ling Xiao's hand. Yin-yang moth. By the way, when I first came here, I noticed those two people. I just wanted to see what they were up to, so I didn't say anything. Ling Xiao smiled. Yin-yang moth requires an extremely strong soul force to control. Senior brother Ling, your soul force should be very strong, right? Lang Hao asked again. Little brat, why do you have so many questions? Back then, you entered the sect together with junior brother Ling. Furthermore, you were hailed as one of the two great geniuses alongside Mingtan. Now that junior brother Ling has surpassed you by so much, you should be more concerned about yourself instead of him. Lan Yu are reminded. Senior sister Lan, how can I compare with senior brother Ling? He is a miracle creator. I can't. Lang Hao smiled bitterly. Okay, let's not talk about this. We have wasted a lot of time here. I guess the others have gone far away. Let's hurry up and catch up with them. Ling Xiao saw that Lang Hao was in a difficult position and changed the topic. Let's go. Everyone continued to move forward. After walking for more than 1,000 meters, Ling Xiao suddenly stopped. I seem to have encountered a big guy, he said, and released the yin-yang moth. A moment later, the yin-yang moth sent a series of images. 700 to 800 meters ahead, there was an undying soul blocking the way. This undying soul was condensed from the souls of many martial artists who died here in the past. If one killed it, they would be able to obtain a large amount of martial arts inheritance and martial soul inheritance. Chapter 735. Peacock Plume, Myriad of Colors. Suddenly, the shadow of 1,000 hands appeared behind Tang Jiu. Then, the strange peacock plume in his hand stretched out, and colorful lights shot toward Ling Xiao. The peacock plume was one of the top 10 hidden weapons of the Tang sect. It was very powerful. If used together with the corresponding True Yuan, it was really unstoppable. 9 meridians, Qi sword, rising sun, sword radiance. Ling Xiao did not draw his sword. Instead, he waved his hands. The sun rose above his head, and then countless golden sword radiances pierced through the air. The sharp and blinding sword radiances made the onlookers exclaim, "Pa, pa, 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 pa." The sound of True Yuan colliding rang out continuously. Ling Xiao's Qi sword radiance was as many as the peacock plume's light. Moreover, the power of the two was actually on par. They kept colliding and exploding in the air. In the end, both of them disappeared. This kid actually broke Tang Jiu's peacock plume? What's going on? Could it be that he wasn't bragging? Is he really that strong? Bragging? I've heard a little about Ling Xiao recently. It's said that he single-handedly defeated almost all the inner disciples of the Sword King sect. He's not easy to deal with. That's right. Did you guys notice that there's a trace of destructive intent in his Qi sword? If it was stronger, Tang Jiu would have been the one at a disadvantage. Moreover, his attack just now was more than 20% of a half-step heavenly venerable. He's definitely hiding his true cultivation. When did such a monster appear in the Yuehua school? Even the arrogant contestants from the previous martial arts festival were shocked by Ling Xiao's performance. Tang Jiu's expression became even more ferocious. He looked like a demon from hell. The stronger Ling Xiao was, the more he wanted to kill Ling Xiao. This person could not be left alive. Otherwise, he would become a bigger problem in the future. Therefore, he had to be killed. Fortunately, he was now stronger than Ling Xiao, so he still had a chance. Ling Xiao, you've hidden your strength well. If I let you live, you'll be a disaster in the future. Therefore, you must die today. Tang Jiu shouted coldly as the peacock plume in his hand shone even brighter. Previously, he had only used 70% of his strength, and he thought that he could easily kill Ling Xiao. Now he was prepared to use 90% of his strength. He did not believe that he could not kill the other party. The peacock plume shined brightly, causing wind to howl and dust to fly. The sharp aura scared many martial artists away from Tang Jiu. Even the undying soul, who was hiding on the throne far away, glanced over. The undying soul didn't seem to take the initiative to attack unless the martial artists entered a certain range. It was as if it was guarding something. Ling Xiao took a deep breath as the overflow rain sword and purple lightning sword appeared in his hands at the same time. Lightning flashed on his left hand, and the will of destruction continued to rise. Red light surrounded his right hand, and the slaughter will grew stronger rapidly. Against Tang Jiu, he planned to finish him off with a single strike, so as to avoid unnecessary trouble. Everyone stop! All of a sudden, Yan Liehua and Yichen Xue appeared in the middle of the crowd and shouted at the same time. Yan Liehua was ranked 51st, a disciple of the Profound Fire sect, which was ranked 3rd among the 12 sections. Yichen Xue was ranked 55th, and he was the number 1 disciple of the Heavenly King sect. The fact that the two of them had intervened to stop him attracted everyone's attention. What's the meaning of this? Tang Jiu asked coldly. Towards these two people, he was also somewhat afraid. Of course, it was only a slight fear and not a fear. However, he had to consider that if he continued to attack, it might become a 1 versus 3 situation. Now is not the time for internal strife. You should know that even if you want to kill Ling Xiao, it's not something that can be done in a short time. Let's deal with the undying soul first. Yichen Xue explained. That's right, Brother Tang. You should know what's more important, right? After dealing with the undying soul, if you want to kill Ling Xiao, we won't stop you. Yan Liehua also advised. Tang Jiu listened to them. I'll join forces with you to deal with that kid later. Although Li Yudao was bloodthirsty, he seemed to have a brain at the crucial moment. Tang Jiu didn't retract his aura, but he felt that their words made sense. If he joined forces with Li Yudao later, it would be a piece of cake to get rid of Ling Xiao. But now Yichen Xue was right. Even if he wanted to kill Ling Xiao, he would suffer great losses. It wouldn't be worth it. All right, I'll give you some face. I'll deal with him later, Tang Jiu said as he slowly retracted his true yuan. However, at this moment, 2 rays of sword light shot out. How dare you! Stop! Yan Liehua and Yichen Xue wanted to stop it, but it was useless. The 2 rays of sword light were too fast. It was too terrifying. In the blink of an eye, Tang Jiu's body was split into 4, and blood splattered all over the ground. You don't believe me when I say you're an idiot. Do you think I'm a dead fish on the chopping board? Do you think you can kill me whenever you want? Stop if you don't want to kill me. Ling Xiao held 2 swords in his hands. Blood was still dripping from the blades. He looked coldly at the dead Tang Jiu and said, From the moment you attacked me, you should have known that there was no way for us to be amicable. How dare you retract your true yuan in the middle of a battle? If you don't die, who will? Everyone was dumbfounded. They even felt that their minds were in a mess. What was this? Tang Jiu wanted to kill Ling Xiao, but he was killed by Ling Xiao first? Ling Xiao was just like the rumors said. He didn't want to lose out at all. Ling Xiao, you're courting death. Yichen Xue was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Yan Liehua was also very unhappy. You're the ones courting death. Ling Xiao said indifferently, Didn't anyone tell you not to interfere when others are in a life-and-death battle? Yichen Xue couldn't take it anymore. He was an inner disciple of Sky King Gate, a half-step heavenly venerable with 80% of his strength. His words were ignored like a fart. This feeling was too unbearable. What about me? Are all of you from Sky King Gate so arrogant? That holy sun is like that, and so are you? Ling Xiao said disdainfully. In fact, Yuqianxue was the one he despised the most. Yuqianxue was an expert in soul secret techniques, but Ling Xiao could feel that Yuqianxue's soul secret techniques were too weak compared to his own. He could kill Yuqianxue in an instant. Damn it! Yuqianxue was about to attack, but was stopped by Yan Liehua. This kid is strange. Don't be in a hurry to attack. Yan Liehua looked at Ling Xiao and said coldly, You killed Tang Jiao, causing us to lose a powerful combatant. Without the dead soul, none of us will be able to enter. What do you say about this? This guy really knew how to flatter others. He instantly turned Ling Xiao into a target. However, Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, Do people from Profound Fire sect like to flatter others so much? Fine, since that's the case. All of you stand aside. Leave this dead soul to me. As for the benefits, I'm a generous person. Everyone will get a share. Chapter 736. It wasn't that Ling Xiao didn't want to take all the benefits, but he didn't want to offend everyone. Moreover, he didn't have the possibility to take all the benefits. Since it was like this, why not do them a favor? You? It's not that I don't believe you. So many of us besieged the undying soul, but we still couldn't get rid of it. Can you do it alone? Yan Liehua frowned. What if I can do it? Ling Xiao asked. If you can do it, I will let bygones be bygones. Yan Liehua said. Good. Then I'll let you widen your knowledge. To deal with this kind of special creature, you can't act recklessly. You need a certain method. Ling Xiao smiled and called Lung Hao, Dayuling, and the others to come and help. Under his command, everyone set up a soul-breaking array around the undying soul. This array didn't have any other effect except for one thing. It could greatly increase the damage to the soul. Then, Ling Xiao asked everyone to step back. He took a deep breath, and the phantom of the Black Divine Dragon appeared behind him. After the soul-breaking array's support, the terrifying destruction will hit the undying soul. The undead soul was originally formed by the condensation of many departed souls. Ling Xiao seized the weakest point of the condensation and used the destruction will to attack. Ah! A strange cry resounded. On the undying soul's soul armor, many human-shaped souls appeared. They began to struggle desperately to break free. Ling Xiao increased the amount of soul power he poured in, and the will of mountains and rivers also merged in. The destruction will's ultimate pursuit was to destroy everything. As for the mountain river will, it was a powerful pressure, a will that was above everything else. After the mountain river will intervened, the undying soul's main will was suppressed. The rest of the souls finally began to break free. 1, 2, 3. The huge soul disintegrated in a moment, and a large number of souls fled. At this time, the onlooking warriors also took action. They caught those souls and began to absorb them. Lan Yu, and the others naturally began to fight under Ling Xiao's signal. Naturally, Ling Xiao captured one of the strongest souls, which was the undying soul's main body. This main body was actually a servant girl beside the true devil great emperor in the past. She couldn't be any more insignificant, but now she was above all the warriors present. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao's strong ability to suppress the soul, it would be impossible to subdue it. Devour, transform, absorb. The whole process was completed by the mountain river martial spirit. Wang. With the end of all this, the true essence in Ling Xiao's body also produced a strong fluctuation. His cultivation had once again broken through. Half-step Empyrean. His power continued to grow slower and slower. This was inevitable because the higher he went, the more power he would need. However, after this breakthrough, there was no need for him to be afraid of a few half-step heavenly venerate martialists who had 80% of their power. Hizd. Sure enough, coming to the true devil forbidden area was the right choice. The harvest was simply too great. His cultivation, which had been stagnant before, had made great progress. Previously, he killed Tangjiu because Tangjiu was careless. At that time, he and Tangjiu were at most separated. He had a bigger advantage, but it wasn't a sure win. But now he was confident that he had an 80% chance of winning. The others had also improved, but except for the few from the Yuehua school who hadn't reached the half-step Empyrean realm, the others hadn't broken through. Now Dai Yuling, Leng Hao, and Zhao Ji were all half-step Empyreans. Among them, Dai Yuling and Leng Hao were half-step Empyreans with 20% of their strength. Zhao Ji was half-step Empyrean with 10% of his strength. Even Zhao Ci, who was the weakest, had reached the Transcendent Realm level 9. She was only one step away from becoming a half-step Empyrean. This was all thanks to the inheritance, power they had absorbed. It was just that their foundation wasn't stable enough. So Ling Xiao reminded them to leave immediately if they encountered any danger. Otherwise, if they died, it would be meaningless no matter how big the harvest was. Asterisk clang. Asterisk, when the undying soul died, a wall behind the throne actually opened up. There really is a secret. Everyone, hurry up and grab the treasures. Hurry up, it'll be gone if we're late. Someone shouted a few times, and then a group of people rushed out. These people are really too much. They didn't even thank Senior Brother Ling. If it weren't for Senior Brother Ling, they wouldn't have been able to get such a big benefit. Zhao Ji said unhappily. All right, don't bother about these small things. Almost everyone has gone in, so let's go in too. Remember what I told you, don't force yourself. There are some things that you don't have to joke about with your life. Ling Xiao reminded. Yes. Everyone was now full of admiration for Ling Xiao. How could they not listen to Ling Xiao's words? To them, Ling Xiao was simply a bright beacon. Wow, the spirit energy here is so abundant. It's much better than a mid-grade spirit stone. Moreover, there are no side effects. Just as he entered the wall, Leng Hao exclaimed, I have a feeling that if I can cultivate here for a while, my cultivation will continue to improve. That's right. Moreover, this spirit energy is very similar to the true essence in our body. It doesn't even take much time to condense. This is simply a holy land for cultivation. Zhao Ji said excitedly. Be careful, the situation is not right. As soon as Ling Xiao finished speaking, a strange inscription on the ground began to flicker. Everyone who was originally together was transferred to a completely different place. This should be the secret cultivation place of the former True Devil Empire. Ling Xiao speculated. His conjecture was basically correct. In the past, the True Devil Emperor and the 9 great Devil Kings cultivated here. This place could show different scenes according to each person's cultivation. It was simply mysterious. Although he was worried about the safety of Lan Yu, and the others, there was nothing he could do. Everyone had their own fortune. He couldn't change anything. It was better to cultivate in peace. Just as he was about to continue moving forward, he suddenly saw a black mist on the road in front of him. This mist continued to condense. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a human figure. Is this a soldier of the True Devil Empire? But how can he be so strong? Ling Xiao had seen the general situation of the True Devil Empire from the murals and some remaining information in the True Devil Palace. This kind of person with a small trident on his chest was a soldier. The soldiers were also divided into 5 ranks. Between each rank, there would be a different degree of strength. 2 swords were sergeants. 3 swords were sergeants. 4 swords were warrant officers. 5 swords were lieutenant officers. After that, the symbol would change. It would no longer be a trident, but directly become the heart of the ocean. Chapter 737. 1 heart of the ocean was a colonel, 2 was a general, 3 was a marshal, 4 was the demon king, 5 was also the highest level. It should be the true devil emperor himself. It sounded like a small soldier wasn't worth mentioning, but the problem was that the small soldier in front of Ling Xiao was actually a half-step Empyrean with 10% of his strength. This was the lowest level of soldiers, yet they were still so strong. Of course, this level of strength was no longer a threat to Ling Xiao. He casually shot out and Qi soared, and the small soldier shattered into mist. Ling Xiao continued forward, but before he could walk more than 10 meters, he encountered a similar situation. However, this time he encountered a second-level soldier with 20% of his strength, a half-step Empyrean. The third time he encountered a third-level soldier with 30% of his strength, a half-step Empyrean. At the same time, similar situations occurred in the other 300 or so completely sealed spaces. What's going on? This is different from what Senior Brother said. How can the enemy be so strong? How powerful was the demon suppressing empire back then? Even a small soldier is so terrifying. It's over. It seems like I won't have a chance to continue moving forward. But if I stay here and cultivate for more than 10 minutes, I will still be attacked. As expected, there is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. The battles were going on at the same time in these places, and more disciples were killed or took the initiative to withdraw. After 3 rounds of battles, more than 20 disciples had left the true devil forbidden area helplessly. Not many died, only 2 of them. They were the kind of fellows who didn't know what was good for them. Outside the demon-suppressing forbidden area, in the blood-red desert, suddenly, more than 20 figures appeared. Zhao Ji, Zhao Xi. Yuehua schools Zhao Ji and Zhao Xi were eliminated. There was nothing they could do. They were not strong enough to face a third-level soldier, but they knew to quit while they were ahead. So they followed Ling Xiao's instructions and left. I'm sorry, Sect Master. Our performance was not good enough. Ha ha ha, it's already very good, very good. To be able to enter the true devil Imperial Palace, your ranking is at least within the top 400. This result is already very good, maybe even better. Wu Xiang laughed. He didn't look depressed. Right, how are Ling Xiao and the others? Heavenly Premier Golden Light hurried over and asked. It should be fine. We were only able to enter the final place, thanks to Senior Brother Ling. Even my current cultivation was only possible thanks to Senior Brother Ling, Zhao He said excitedly. A half-step Empyrean with 20% of his strength. How did he improve so quickly? Wu Xiang checked Zhao Ji's cultivation and was immediately taken aback. Zhao Xi isn't bad either. She's already a half-step Empyrean with 10% of her strength. Empyrean Heavenly, I also looked at Zhao Xi, very satisfied. In the past, Heavenly Lord Heavenly, I did not place Zhao Ji and Zhao Xi, these 2 disciples, in his eyes. But now, these 2 people had become the 2 most outstanding among all his disciples. This really made people sigh. How are our sect's casualties? Zhao Ji asked. This was because too many people had died before entering the true demon Imperial Palace, especially Liu Dao and Tang Jiu. Basically, every disciple they encountered could not escape from their ruthless hands. Only the people from the 3 southern sects were spared. Fortunately, more than 10 people died. The rest have all returned. Some sects are too miserable. More than 100 people went in, but only a dozen or so survived. Zhao Ji turned his head and saw that the leaders of some sects were beating their chests and stamping their feet in grief. He sighed in his heart. The other sects were different from the Yuehua school. Everyone in the Yuehua school had a secret technique scroll, which was refined with the help of Ling Xiao. Therefore, they could escape when they encountered danger. However, the other sects did not have so many secret technique scrolls. It was good enough that each sect had 20 or 30 scrolls. The rest did not have any scrolls. The only way to escape was to run outside. However, how could they escape when they were not as strong as others? Naturally, there were many casualties. The people from the Yuehua school side. They were also glad that their sect had someone like Ling Xiao. At this moment, Ling Xiao was still fighting in the enclosed space. Interestingly, every time he killed a soldier formed by the black fog would merge into his body and become pure true essence energy. His cultivation level would increase a little. At this rate, it was much faster than sitting cross-legged and cultivating. The soldier in front of him was a 5th-level soldier with 50% of his strength, a half-step heavenly venerable. To Ling Xiao, this was not a strong opponent, but it was just a small soldier. He wondered how strong the soldiers that appeared next would be. Would their strength be equivalent to the top 100 geniuses in the martial arts festival? Whoosh! Again, it was just a sort of energy that shattered the soldier. The black fog merged into Ling Xiao's body and turned into pure energy. The rest of the people were probably in the same situation. While gaining benefits, the danger they faced also increased. Naturally, it was better to kill as many of these things as possible. However, when the strength of a half-step heavenly venerable reached 50%, there were even fewer people who could fight against it. The number of people who failed started to increase. More than 20 people had been eliminated just now. Now there were close to 100 people who had been eliminated. Although there were more half-step heavenly venerable martialists with 50% of their strength than in the previous preliminaries, there were only about 200 of them. Moreover, some martialists might not be able to defeat these 5th-level soldiers at the same level. It was completely normal for them to be eliminated. Fortunately, this was an enclosed space. If they could not win, they could take the initiative to give up and run away. They would not be chased by the disciples of the other sections. Therefore, the death rate was greatly reduced. Most of them were eliminated and had no choice but to return the way they came. Of course, those who had secret technique scrolls could directly teleport out. On the Yuehua school's side, Lan Yu could still maintain her composure. However, Dai Yuling and Lung were having a harder time. Long Chun from the Divine Sword Sect had already entered his golden dragon form. He relied on his strong defense to persist. Otherwise, he would have been eliminated long ago. While many martialists were still facing 5th-level and 4th-level soldiers, Ling Xiao was already facing a sergeant. Sergeants were divided into 3 ranks: sergeant, sergeant, and corporal. Originally, Ling Xiao thought that a corporal strength was only at 60% of a half-step heavenly venerable. However, when he actually encountered one, he discovered that he was wrong. This fellow was not at 60% of a half-step heavenly venerable, but had directly soared to 80% of a half-step heavenly venerable. This was a leap in strength. Ling Xiao took a deep breath. Among the martialists who entered the true demon forbidden zone this time, the ones with the highest cultivation were Yan Liehua and Liu Dao. Tang Jiu was also at this level, but he was already dead. They were all at 80% of a half-step heavenly venerable. If Ling Xiao wanted to defeat them, then this corporal would be his touchstone. You came at the right time. Ling Xiao faintly smiled and took out the overflow rain sword. He was prepared to have a good battle with this corporal. He wanted to completely master his newly comprehended sword moves. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.